S&P is also flat around 1,216. Wolf.
Allie, thank you very much. We'll get back to you. It's 4 p.m. here in Washington, and you're in the Situation Room, where news and information from around the world arrive at one place simultaneously. Happening now, the first waves of Hurricane Rita's assault on the Texas-Louisiana coast. It's 3 p.m. Central in Rita's strike zone, on the brink of what one official calls a catastrophic event. Frequent updates ahead from your hurricane headquarters. A worst-case scenario realized in New Orleans, a levee breached and water pouring out. Is that hard-hit city being swamped again? And Rita's first casualties, an evacuation, then an explosion, and lives lost. This hour, the hurricane exodus and what went horribly wrong. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. High anxiety along the Texas-Louisiana coast with Hurricane Rita pressing ever closer. Now a Category 3 storm with top winds near 125 miles an hour. Rita is weakening somewhat, but still it's fierce and it's very dangerous. The hurricane now less than 200 miles southeast of Galveston, Texas. To the east in New Orleans, a potentially devastating repeat of the Katrina flooding. Water spilled through a patched levee, pouring water into the 9th Ward, one of the city's lowest-lying neighborhoods. It's a development officials feared, but it happened earlier than expected. The mayor, Ray Nagin, urging journalists to leave reflooded areas because of safety concerns. Authorities now are investigating this Rita-related tragedy. A horrible tragedy. A bus carrying evacuees, many of them elderly, from a nursing home near Houston burst into flames and exploded outside of Dallas. At least 24 people were killed. We'll have a report on that horrible story. Let's go straight, though, to the CNN Weather Center. Our meteorologist, Jackie Jarris, she has the latest information. Jackie?
Well, Wolf, we're about 12 to 16 hours away from landfall now as Rita edges closer towards the Louisiana-Texas state line. It has been weakening some, and there are about 3 different things that are working against it. We have increased wind shear on the western side of the storm. That's unfavorable winds in the upper atmosphere, helping to try and knock this thing down just a little bit. It's also moving into some cooler waters, so that can also provide some weakening. And lastly, there's been some dry air that's been trying to entrain into the storm system, and dry air, of course, limits some of the lift in this storm system, and that can also break it down. But it's still a very serious situation, and we want to say treat this as a major hurricane. We could drop down to a 2 before landfall, but right now we're going to stick with 3 or better because this is such a huge storm and a very serious situation. You've been talking about Port Arthur right there. At this time, the center line bringing it to the west of Port Arthur, which would bring the strongest storm surge here, 10 to 20 feet possible, as it shoots on up the bays and the rivers in this region, which will be extremely catastrophic with this storm. It's then expected to weaken, but eventually stall out, unfortunately, across northern parts of Texas, kind of the Arklatex region here, and could bring as much as 12 to 24 inches of rain because it's been stalling out. New Orleans itself could see anywhere between 3 and 5 inches of rain, and it's been coming down pretty steady throughout much of the day. There have been a number of tornado warnings. No reports of damage, but don't know that anybody's there to report any additional damage that could be possible. We've got an outer band that's just pushing through towards Dauphin Island, extending over towards Gulfport and Biloxi, and this band has had a couple of warnings with it. No tornado warnings right now. However, that feeder band could trigger any tornadoes at any given time. We also have a very strong easterly wind, but it looks like it's just starting to turn southeasterly a little bit more. And that will bring up the storm surge, we think, even higher as Rita gets a little bit closer. We're looking at about 2 to 4 feet above normal tide across the Louisiana coast, and those winds are really gusting right now. They're about 24 miles per hour over here in New Orleans. There's 21 in Baton Rouge, 20 in Thibodaux. We'll take it down towards the coast, and we're getting tropical storm force sustained winds right there along the coast. And there you can see that rain pushing just over the state line now and affecting parts of eastern Texas. Wolf?
All right, Jackie, thank you very much. We'll check back with you often. The head of emergency management in Texas says he expects Hurricane Rita to affect more than 5 million people in the state and leave 16,000 of them homeless. Let's check in with two coastal communities in the hurricane's bullseye, or at least close to it. CNN's David Mattingly's in Galveston. Our meteorologist, Rob Marciano, is in Beaumont. Rob, let's start with you.
Beaumont, Texas, as you mentioned, part of the southeast corner of the state. Beaumont, Port Arthur, Orange, the Golden Triangle, the more populated area of the southeastern corner of Texas. Actually, driving over between Houston and Beaumont, I forgot just how unpopulated that area is. And you might think, well, if it takes this current track, you know, it slides in there, maybe not affecting as many people. But this storm is so big, it's gonna be similar to Katrina as far as seeing the miles, possibly hundreds of miles of coastline affected by this. And different from Katrina is the landscape of southeast Texas and southwest Louisiana, and how much that storm surge is going to run inland. There's a lot of marshlands, and on top of that, there's been a lot of engineering in order to accommodate big ships that pipe oil up and down some of these rivers. Behind me is the Natchez River. Here in Beaumont, you see a drawbridge just beyond me, and then beyond that, actually some fishing vessels that are tied to their moorings. Right now, the river is flowing out the way it normally should. Well, it's helped by a northeast wind, which has been picking up, by the way, and the clouds now just starting to spit. But as the winds begin to turn come tomorrow, and if the track is right, Jackie's right, and that track goes up just to the west of Port Arthur, we're going to see a strong south wind and a serious storm surge here. And the latest discussion out of some of the local National Weather Service offices do indicate that this spot right here will be under 20 feet of water as this river rises because of the storm surge. This is not the only river. You know, you've got one that slices up just past Orange, separates Louisiana and Texas. That's the Sabine River. And then in Lake Charles, you've got the Calcasieu River that dumps into Lake Charles there. That's going to be filling up. Word is, Wolf, that in Lake Charles, the lake there is already 2 feet on the rise, and the storm's not even close to it yet. So it's a bit of a different situation than Katrina in that the flooding is going to extend well inland on top of a very wide expanse of coastline also.
All right, Rob, thanks very much. Rob Marciano's in Beaumont, Texas. Let's head over to Galveston, Texas. That's where David Mattingly is standing by. The wind beginning to pick up there, David?
Picking up a little bit. We're seeing some of the first raindrops of the day, Wolf, after one of the most successful hurricane evacuations we've ever seen in the Gulf Coast area. Some residents of Galveston are being allowed to come back to their homes. These are people who evacuated, got stuck in traffic, and had nowhere to go. So city officials say the best thing for them to do is to come back, ride out the storm in their homes here on the island, instead of having to take their chances in the storm sitting in their car somewhere on an expressway. The storm not going to be as bad here as originally thought. They're now looking at 75 to 90-mile-an-hour winds that will hit later tonight, and a storm surge of just about 7 feet, something that the massive seawall here should be able to contain. Wolf?
They expect the whole area where you are to be totally flooded. Is that right?
That was under the original forecast when they were thinking that they were going to get a Category 5 storm running right over the top of them. Now the storm is taking off to the north, threatening communities up in that direction. Here, they are on the less intense side of the storm now, and the further north it goes, the better off this island is going to be.
All right, well, let's hope for the best for Galveston. Thank you very much, David. David Mattingly is in Galveston. Let's head back to New Orleans. Our Adora Udoji is on the phone with us. She's just north of New Orleans in a neighborhood that's been reflooded due to the new levee breaches caused by Hurricane Rita. Give our viewers a sense, Adora, what's going on where you are.
You're exactly right, Wolf. We were northeast of the city in a neighborhood called Elysian Field, and yesterday it was dry, and today there's at least 3-4 feet of water that's seeping in pretty quickly, and it's getting very windy, which is why we were actually surprised that just a minute ago we were watching a Coast Guard helicopter flying around the city. It's very spotty, though. As you move closer to downtown New Orleans, you see less flooding, some streets getting some water. It's just moving in very, very quickly. We were north of the London Avenue Bridge, and the water was just whipping in there so quickly.
And it's only just beginning, I suspect, the winds and the rain. As the hurricane gets closer and closer, presumably, Adora, it's going to get worse.
Oh, I don't think there's any question, Wolf. In fact, it started raining yesterday around 3 o'clock, and it has not stopped. We get these bands of rain, and some of them are quite ferocious. I mean, about 45 minutes ago, it was like a torrential downpour, and it just keeps coming.
Adora Udoji is watching the situation for us in New Orleans. Thank you very much. Let's go back to New York, our second chance to hear from Jack Cafferty. Jack?
Thank you, Wolf. The Preparations and evacuations for Hurricane Rita have been massive and early, especially compared to those before Katrina made landfall last month. Nevertheless, tens of thousands of motorists remain stranded on highways, which actually look more like parking lots. There are those who ran out of gas. There are gas stations that don't have any gas. Texas Governor Rick Perry said today that crews are delivering fuel to people stuck on the highways. There's a good idea. But some motorists complain the state should have opened up traffic flow in the other direction much earlier than it did. That's probably another good idea. Here's the question this hour. Are there lessons that were not learned from Hurricane Katrina? Your thoughts, Cafferty File, one word, CNN.com.
I can think of another one. Maybe make sure those TSA screeners show up for work at airports that people want to leave from.
But you know what? Somebody made the point. Somebody wrote to me about that yesterday, and they said, wait a second, these people have families too, and if they live in some of the low-lying areas around there, it's not unreasonable to expect that they'd want to focus on getting their families out of harm's way rather than reporting to the airport for their regular work shift. And I suppose that's not an unreasonable argument.
Except TSA should bring screeners in from other parts of the country who don't have families necessarily to worry about, and make sure those airports like Houston International Airport operate.
There you go again, expecting the government to do its job, Wolf. Shame on you.
Just a thought, just a thought. Jack, thank you very much.
See you later.
Tragedy on the highway, a horrible tragedy, a deadly ending for some of the oldest evacuees fleeing this hurricane. We'll have the story. That's coming up next. Plus, we're tracking Rita. It's down to a Category 3, but it's still very dangerous. Stay with CNN, your hurricane headquarters.
Keep watching CNN, your hurricane headquarters.
Introducing new Smart Balance Microwave Popcorn, the world's first to help improve cholesterol, with no hydrogenated oil and no trans fatty acids. Smart Balance Microwave Popcorn, the great tasting popcorn that's actually good for you.
Go to Priceline now for the best deals on hotels. Name your own price for 3- and 4-star hotels and save up to $100 a night off other leading travel sites every night you stay. Brilliant. Only at the new Priceline.
It's been a great summer with Employee Pricing Plus. It's been a huge success, and the 2005 models are going fast. Because right now, during the final days of Employee Pricing Plus at your Dodge dealership, the deals have gotten even better. The remaining 2005 models won't last long, so hurry in now for the best selection. Remember,
if you can find a better car, buy it.
So I'd say, if you can find a better car, buy it.
If the ride is more fly, then you must buy.
That's what I hear.
Do you, Morgan Ambrose Robert, take this woman to be your lawful wedded wife?
Of course, that very much depends on what you mean by the question, do you? Forward-looking statements involve risk and uncertainties. We're opening up a can of worms here. No single answer readily presents itself. I mean, have we really explored every avenue? Have the parties made certain representations, warranties, and agreements in connection with the merger? Do the parties agree to be subject to the satisfaction of the regulatory approvals as required to consummate the transaction? Who amongst us will ever know?
I do.
I pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Less talk. Make it happen. The Royal Bank of Scotland Group.
It's the 4th largest city in the United States. 4.5 million people live in metropolitan Houston. Authorities there are briefing reporters on what's going on. Let's listen in.
I toured the dome and visited with some of the first responders there. Everyone from the Coast Guard to fire departments, ambulances. The state forces are coming in. The FEMA folks are represented there. The Reliant Arena that you, or the Reliant Hall that you had seen lined with thousands of people in cots is now lined with hundreds of ambulances, boats, fire trucks, and first responding equipment. That equipment is there. It is ready. It will be projected out into whatever area is needed for recovery, either here or we're thinking now from east towards Beaumont. As soon as the storm has passed, additional equipment will be brought in. Again, FEMA and our federal partners have done a great job with us. That equipment will be brought in. We will have, again, helicopters and other assets that could not be kept inside that will be brought onto that pad for the relief effort. I believe, Mayor, anything you want to add before we?
No. And with this, we're going to ask the majority leader and members of Congress to make some statements for us. Mr. Leader.
Thank you, Mayor. All the plans have been made. All the plans are in place. The local, state, and federal government are ready for this storm, and people should know how it works. Our experience with Katrina, people didn't quite understand that after the storm or during the storm, who can you reach out to? The way that response systems are set up is the local governments are the first responders. When they're overwhelmed, they go to the state, asking for National Guard and so forth, and when the state is overwhelmed, FEMA is ready to fill in and provide those resources. FEMA, as you all know, has pre-positioned water, food, all the supplies that are going to be needed after this storm is over. The military, both National Guard and active military, are ready to respond upon directions from the mayor and from the county judge. I just want to say and take this opportunity to thank the mayor of Houston, Bill White, for the incredible job he's done and the work that he has done, not only just this few days, but the work that has been done over the last 3 weeks. Robert Eccles, county judge of Harris County, has been just phenomenal in making things happen and showing the kind of leadership that we desperately need in this area to make things happen. We shouldn't also forget that there's a lot of other mayors in this region. There are other county judges in this region that are doing their jobs. They don't get the television, but when people are in trouble, call your mayor, call the city government, call your local county government. If you live in Sugar Land or if you live in Liberty County, call Liberty County. Don't call Mayor White. The point here is if you are in trouble and you need help, call your local officials and your first responders in your area. We are prepared for this storm. The incredible leadership that has been shown in the local level and the state level and the federal government. I've been in contact with the White House, with the Department of Homeland Security, with the FEMA operation, with the military. We feel very confident that everything is in place, ready for this storm. And all I can offer at this time is thank you to everybody that's been involved, a lot of people in this room, all the volunteers that have been pulled together. We are ready, and we're ready for Rita. And God bless everyone. Our prayers are with you.
My name is Gene Green, and I represent the east side and north side of the county, from Baytown all the way back in. And I'm glad to follow.
All right, we'll monitor this news conference in Houston, Texas. They're bracing for the worst there. We'll see what's going on. They're already getting some bad situations unfolding in New Orleans. Let's go to CNN's Jeff Quinangi. He's joining us from St. Bernard Parish. What's happening there, Jeff?
Well, Wolf, it seems like we've been here before. This place had begun to dry out in the last few days, and I can tell you, the water's rising really, really fast. It's up to my knees right now. Officials were telling us that they were expecting the water to rise, but, Wolf, I can tell you, it's rising pretty fast. In fact, the National Guardsmen just pulled up to our car and said, we cannot be in this area. We have to go back to Orleans Parish because they do not want to start conducting search and rescue missions. We've been advised to get out of this area, Wolf, because the water is rising too fast.
And is it a sustained area, a big area, based on what you can see, Jeff, or it's just a few blocks?
It's a pretty large area, Wolf. In fact, the water is crossing over into Orleans Parish because we're literally on the border of St. Bernard and Orleans Parish, and the water is starting to rise pretty fast across the whole stretch, Wolf.
Is the water coming over those levees, over those walls, or did they simply break those that temporary repair job that they did?
It seems like a bit of both right now, Wolf. It did break in some parts, and it is going over in other parts, so that's why it's rising so fast. Right now, up to my knees, and it's still rising, and you can hear the wind right now. It's howling as we speak. There's intermittent rain every now and then. It's pouring down, then it stops and starts and stops again. So the water, in a word, Wolf, is still rising.
Jeff Quinangi, be careful over there in New Orleans, our man on the scene. Thank you very much. The exodus from parts of Texas took a deadly turn earlier today. A bus carrying elderly evacuees from a nursing home caught fire and exploded. Our national correspondent, Bob Franken, is on the scene for us. Bob, what happened?
Well, they were part of the evacuation. They'd been taken from a Houston area nursing home. These were people who were very frail, many of them on oxygen. They had gotten close to Dallas in the evacuation in their bus when apparently officials say there was a brake malfunction or something that caused the fire. And very sadly, that caused some of the oxygen tanks to explode. It was a horrific scene when helpers tried to come in and save whom they could.
Bob, the whole nature of the oxygen tanks in there, are people looking at this situation and wondering why did they let these people go in there with these highly flammable oxygen tanks?
Well, apparently the officials are under the impression that they really didn't have any choice. Now, the National Traffic Safety Board is going to be investigating this, so there are going to be a lot of questions like the one that you asked. There has been this huge problem, of course, with getting people, evacuees, out of this area. Now, what is so interesting is that this area might not be hit as badly as people thought that it would be hit. Here's an interesting thing also, Wolf. As they prepare here, the city of Houston is going to have the expertise of a hometown company that has had huge, huge experience in war zones. Hometown Houston is of Kellogg, Brown and Root and Halliburton.
In our next hour here in the Situation Room, we're going to be speaking to the owner of that nursing home. Thanks very much, Bob Franken, reporting for us from Houston. We have our eye on the storm coming up. The latest on Hurricane Rita. Will it gain or lose strength as it slams into the Gulf Coast? We're tracking this storm. Plus, the president was expected to head back to Texas this afternoon, but his travel plans have changed. Rita being the reason. We're getting ready to board Air Force One right now. There you see it at Andrews Air Force Base, the president getting ready to take off. He's not going to go to Texas. Instead, he's heading directly to the Northern Command in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We'll tell you what's going on with the president right after this.
Hurricane Rita. Stay on top of the story. Live all-night coverage as the storm comes ashore. When the weather is the news, trust CNN.
Let Empire Glass replace your cracked windshield, and we'll give you 24 free dinners to Sherry's Restaurants, where you'll enjoy great food and delicious pies all day, every day. And we offer free mobile service to your home or office. So for the highest quality windshields and 24 free dinners to Sherry's, call Empire Glass today at 503-251-9881. And remember, when you think glass, think Empire.
Hope is more powerful than a hurricane. Help victims of Hurricane Katrina and thousands of other disasters across the country each year. Call or visit redcross.org.
When the weather is the news, trust CNN. It's essential.
How can one company help create stronger, lighter, safer, quieter vehicles and support research into new energy sources to run them? By using the right chemistry. Improving the things we all need is a great journey. And it's ours. Dow. Living. Improve daily.
Work on that left hand.
Thanks for the jest, Mom.
The simple, everyday moments can be the perfect time to talk to your kids about not smoking. So you don't have to plan a big discussion.
There's a dragonfly on one of the roller coasters.
Is your leg? A little moment will do just fine.
really
Talk to your kids about not smoking.
Smoking cigarettes can hurt your game too.
They'll listen.
Don't worry, Dad. I won't.
For conversation starters, log on to philipmorrisusa.com.
How many days is 3 weeks?
21.
Won't we miss your room?
A little bit.
Won't we miss Rocky?
You know what I'm gonna miss the most?
What?
His face.
Mr. Bucket, welcome to Residence Inn.
Residence Inn. All suites with all the comforts.
Let's go right to Houston. The mayor, Bill White, speaking to reporters.
So don't be naive. Trees will fall. Power will be out. Waters will rise. And don't wait. Don't go outside to see what's happening. With that, we'll take questions.
How many people might still be trapped on the roads, and how many people have been rescued so far by these buses?
Chief Lambert. And Chief Hurd also has info.
We have made contact with 250 individuals. We've transported 11. The message has to be clearly communicated, though. There is one last sweep that we're making. Get on the buses now. We'll get you to a shelter.
Does that mean the others don't want to be evacuated?
We've had others didn't want to be evacuated. We're going to put the notice out, and we appreciate the media. The message is we're doing a last sweep, one last pickup. We'll take you to shelters.
Next one, yes. I never mentioned that, period, end of the story. What I said is that we have, and neither I nor Judge nor anybody else here is, we have and have been implementing a plan for those people who have special needs. I mean, there's been 10,000 medical transportations in this community, assisted living. We do and have been implementing a plan to try to locate every individual within the coastal surge zone, that storm surge zone, the Zone A. We have had a plan, which Chief Lambert just described, to clear the freeways. The best place, the safest place for people who are not in those categories, who have not been communicated about those plans right now, is in their homes. So many Houstonians have done what we requested they do, which is seek the assistance of friend, family, neighbors, if they were in one of the areas most at risk, to seek shelter with them. It is more dangerous. It is dangerous for somebody who is in public official or anybody in the media to disseminate the idea that somehow some people ought to be moving to a shelter in a safe place. Yes, there are people who are being sheltered, but that is not the safe place for the general public. And I want to say this. We respect human life in this community. We want to minimize the risk to human life. And that means that those people who are most vulnerable in a storm like this need to be given assistance and can't be crowded out. I want to tell you, and I've been asked to say this on behalf of the medical community in the hospital district, Harris County, that hospitals are not shelters. They are for the people who need hospitalization to remain alive and to sustain themselves. The next question. Yep.
There are a lot of people out here. We've heard from a lot of people that don't live in Houston or perhaps are outside of Harris County, literally waiting for someone from Houston or Harris County to come and rescue them. Do you think that the folks in the surrounding counties, between here and Dallas or here and Lufkin, are expecting too much from Houston and Harris County to come and rescue them or solve whatever storm-related issues they may have?
You did hear the majority leader say that regardless of the reach of this channel, that your local, if you are in a city 100 in Lufkin, then your first response mechanism is a local response. Sure, this big-hearted region with all our resources and the various resources that the judge described on the national from outside the region are going to be responding to people. But as the leader said, that first line of response is your local first responder. Now I'll say this, and I want to say it, Judge, in front of our distinguished congressional delegation. This community in a bus operation has taken thousands and thousands and thousands of people from coastal communities and the surrounding counties who were transferred here, who were picked up by bus in those communities and transferred to Houston. We've moved them on. But we do not encourage people right now to find their way to Houston for care. That would be dangerous. This is not the time to be out in your automobile. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah, Mr. Leader.
The mayor of Houston, Bill White, speaking to reporters, briefing reporters on what's going on in his community. We saw the president board Air Force One. He's going to be flying directly to Colorado to the Northern Command. Our White House correspondent, Suzanne Malveaux, is joining us now from the North Lawn of the White House. He's skipping Texas. What happened, Suzanne?
Well, Wolf, initially he was supposed to travel to San Antonio, Texas to visit with search and rescue teams. According to White House Press Secretary Scott McClellan, the president, at least FEMA, made the decision that they were going to reposition those teams closer to the storm. The president did not want to slow down the operation, so he decided to skip ahead to jump to Colorado Springs. That, of course, where the headquarters is for U.S. Northern Command. Earlier today, the president visited the headquarters of FEMA, where he had a video teleconference briefing about Hurricane Rita. All of this, of course, Wolf, really comes at a time at a heightened state of sensitivity on the perceptions that people may have and how he is responding this time around to Hurricane Rita. Even the critics now questioning whether or not this travel and these number of appearances are simply a series of photo opportunities. Earlier today, the president was confronted with that question, whether or not by going to Texas he would actually be getting in the way of some of those military operations.
We will make sure that my entourage does not get in the way of people doing their job, which will be search and rescue immediately. And rest assured, I understand that we must not and will not interfere with the important work that will be going forward.
So, Wolf, really the White House very sensitive on that point, on that issue. Since then, there has been a change of plans. They are going directly to Colorado Springs. The president will be having breakfast with the troops. He'll also be at the Operations Center. That is where he's going to monitor the track of the hurricane coming in. We don't know yet whether or not he's actually going to be speaking or having an event this evening, but the president is very much aware that perception is key. Wolf?
Suzanne Malveaux at the White House. Thank you, Suzanne, very much. We're seeing Air Force One taxiing on the runway at Andrews Air Force Base, getting ready to take off with the president and his entire entourage, heading directly to Northern Command, Colorado Springs, Colorado. Our Zane Burgee is joining us now live from the CNN Center in Atlanta with a quick look at some other stories making news. Hi, Zane.
Hi, Wolf. Lester Crawford, the head of the Food and Drug Administration, has resigned. The White House says that that resignation is effective immediately. Now, Crawford, Wolf, leaving less than 3 months after the Senate confirmed him for the job. As you know, he's been embattled for a while now. Under his leadership, the FDA has been criticized because the Vioxx, the painkiller, was pulled off the market because of safety problems. There was also major controversy over allowing over-the-counter sales of the morning after contraception. He also had to fight personal allegations of extramarital affairs with one of his employees, a subordinate. An investigation, though, found that there was no basis for those charges of an affair. But again, Lester Crawford, the head of the FDA, has resigned. Vice President Dick Cheney is scheduled to have surgery tomorrow to repair an aneurysm in his right knee. It's going to happen at George Washington Hospital Center. And Cheney is expected to stay there up to 2 days after the operation. He has a similar condition in his left knee, and he'll eventually have surgery to repair that. A fresh and deadly round of violence in Iraq, including a suicide bombing on a bus in Baghdad that killed 2 people and wounded 17. Elsewhere, 2 officials with the Interior Ministry were assassinated. We're also learning now that 2 more American soldiers have been killed west of Baghdad, one in a roadside bombing and the other in combat. Americans apparently doubt, Wolf, that the Iraqi government can handle the unrest More than 2/3 of those questioned in a new CNN USA Today Gallup poll don't think that the Iraqi government and the military can prevent chaos if American forces withdraw. Meanwhile, anti-Iraq war protesters hope that tens of thousands of people will march tomorrow in Washington. The event caps a bus tour that's been led by Cindy Sheehan, whose son was killed in Iraq. Sheehan spent much of the month of August protesting outside the president's Texas ranch. Wolf, back to you.
Thank you very much, Zane. We're going to go back to New Orleans after a short break. The levees once again not working. That city for a second time in a month. Increasingly underwater right now. The flooding has started. We'll go there. Mary Snow is live right after this.
The medicines, things that make modern life modern, come from one place, chemistry. Learn more at AmericanChemistry.com.
Congress chartered Freddie Mac 35 years ago to make mortgage money available so lenders can make more home loans. Our mission, help keep mortgage rates stable and low. It's working. Freddie Mac has helped over 44 million families own their own home. It's the most important investment millions of Americans ever make. Some people call it a nest egg. Most people just call it home. Freddie Mac. We make home possible.
Let's compare. If this is other car insurance companies, and this is Allstate, and if they both cost about the same, which would you feel safer with? You're in good company. Last year, over 1 million people switched their car insurance to Allstate. Surprised? For many people, Allstate actually costs less than those companies that only talk about how much you can save. Allstate's been helping drivers for over 70 years. You can look to their knowledge and experience for help 24/7. You get more than an 800 number. You get real people with answers. Why get car insurance from a company you're not sure about when you can get peace of mind from Allstate? It's a good feeling if the going gets rough.
Call 1-866-831-1700 and find out how much Allstate's knowledge and experience can help you save. You don't have to wait for your current policy to expire. Switch to Allstate and start saving right now.
Quality car insurance should be affordable. That's Allstate stand. Are you in good hands?
CNN, your hurricane headquarters.
Welcome back. Just days after New Orleans was officially declared dry, Hurricane Rita's rains have triggered renewed flooding today. CNN's Mary Snow is covering the levee breach. She's joining us now from the 9th Ward in New Orleans. Mary, give our viewers a sense of what is happening in that city today.
Well, since the last time we talked, we had to move our location. The mayor of New Orleans telling the media to get off the bridge we were on. So we are now on just a little bit north. What happened today is that 2 areas that were weakened by Hurricane Katrina along the Industrial Canal levee saw water overtopping. And I'll give you an example of what happened. This is the result. Just a couple of hours. If you can see behind me, we are on the northwest side now of the Industrial Canal from where we were. And within a few hours, you're already seeing this flooding. Another area, of course, that had been flooded was the lower 9th Ward, and those pictures we saw earlier today with water gushing really in that area where the levee had been damaged. There was a temporary reinforcements being put in over the past couple of weeks. The Army Corps of Engineers saying that storm surge over 7 feet is what made the water go over the top today. They say they are disappointed, but they are not surprised. These are low-lying areas. These were heavily, heavily damaged in Hurricane Katrina. They were expecting flooding. However, they were not expecting the flooding to happen this quickly. In terms of the other levees, there were 2 other levees damaged in Hurricane Katrina. The latest we've heard from the Army Corps of Engineers is that there have not been any overtopping at those 2 levees. But early this morning, we saw the water started seeping through and then started moving pretty rapidly into the lower 9th Ward.
We're getting some new video, Mary, stand by, new video that we've been showing our viewers coming in from another part of New Orleans right now. We'll show those the viewers of the levees, clearly the water coming in over the top of those levees, which are fragile to begin with in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. But you see the flooding, see the school bus underwater right there. Quickly, what do the skies look like today, Mary? How ominous is the weather?
Well, I'll tell you, right now we're in a band of spot right now where the water is not coming down. But the weather has been pretty severe at times where we've gotten some heavy downpours interspersed with periods of dry weather, but also winds are kicking up. I just should point out also, a couple of our colleagues are out in New Orleans also checking on flooded areas. Jeff Carnegie over at the Orleans Parish and St. Bernard Parish, he's on the border there. He was reporting flooding up to his knees. So there are a number of pockets around New Orleans that are seeing flooding right now.
Mary Snow, thanks very much for joining us. And remember, hurricane season doesn't officially end until November 30th. What do hurricane winds actually feel like? Our Brian Todd will take us inside a simulated wind tunnel for a demonstration. That's coming up next.
Tonight, special Newsnight coverage as Hurricane Rita comes ashore. Where will it strike hardest? Wherever it does, we'll be there with correspondents up and down the Gulf Coast. Newsnight, State of Emergency, CNN 10 p.m. Eastern.
So I'll just make this a little more obvious, 'cause I get what I want and I want you to get with me. You want to get with me?
Hey. Yeah, great. Bye.
The world's first phone with iTunes. 100 songs to go, only from Singular. Raising the bar.
Steady, disciplined, and consistent. That's our approach to investing. Van Campen Investments. Shine.
Every day, America's highly trained and skilled air traffic controllers guide thousands of planes safely. But now, FAA staffing cutbacks mean fewer air traffic controllers are handling more and more planes. Today, there are 1,000 fewer controllers than there were just 2 years ago. And that's a dangerous act. Call Congress at 1-877-FLY-US-SAFE. Tell them that when the FAA juggles staffing, it compromises safety.
The HP Blade System server powered by Intel Xeon processors. Consolidation made easy.
Introducing new Smart Balance Microwave Popcorn, the world's first to help improve cholesterol, with no hydrogenated oil and no trans fatty acids. Smart Balance Microwave Popcorn, the great tasting popcorn that's actually good for you.
Hurricane Rita already causing havoc across parts of Texas, even in places well beyond the coast. The town of Lufkin, about 100 miles north of Houston, has simply been overwhelmed with evacuees from the south, and conditions may only get worse once Rita hits land. Lufkin City Manager Paul Parker is joining us on the phone with more. What's it like in your community, Mr. Parker?
Right now, we probably have approximately 100,000 people in the Lufkin area. We've had for probably the last 24 hours a situation where gas was very limited, and every parking lot, every on the side of the road, people are stranded without gas, and they've been on the road 18 to 20 hours getting out of Houston with no food and water. So we have some pretty irate individuals, which we don't blame them for that, and we're trying to work our way through it. And so far, we're managing, but it's been very chaotic.
Normally, Lufkin has a population of about 35,000, so your population has, what, tripled or quadrupled or whatever. Are you getting the kind of support from state and federal authorities that you need?
The one thing we're not having is enough fuel. We have too many gas stations that are empty, and we're trying to get more fuel from the state, and as soon as the station opens, there's 80 to 100 cars waiting as they offload the fuel, and then more behind it. And it's gone as soon as they can pump it, and then other people are lining up for the next load. What we desperately need is fuel in the Lufkin area to get the people out of Lufkin west, out of harm's way.
Well, good luck to you, Mr. Parker. Good luck to everyone in Lufkin. Good work. Try to do the best you can, which I'm sure you are trying to do. We'll take another quick break. Still ahead, though. What do 125-mile-an-hour winds really feel like? As Rita prepares to blow across the coast, our Brian Todd is standing by to give us a clear sense of what it's like to withstand a powerful storm. He's in a wind tunnel. You'll want to see this. Stay with us.
Cocoa. Rainbow wings. Check this out.
The new Swiffer Sweepin' Vac picks up dust and hair with the cloth. Big stuff with the vac. Better than a broom and dustpan.
Is that amazing? For what?
Let me try that.
No.
The new Swiffer Sweepin' Vac. Stop cleaning. Get Swiffer. Go online for a money-saving coupon.
My slipper.
Hurricane Rita. Stay on top of the story. Live all-night coverage as the storm comes ashore. When the weather is the news, trust CNN.
Allowing customers to buy new Fords at employee prices has actually been a windfall for used car buyers. At Landmark, we've had record sales of new Fords, and that's meant a flood of trade-ins. In fact, we're running out of places to put them. So we're selling them at phenomenal savings. This F-150 Super Cab 4x4 is only $99.90. Here's an Explorer Limited for just $10,990. How about a 2004 Taurus wagon for only $13,990? See us today at Landmark Ford in Tigard. We're just off 55 at the Haines Street exit.
Want a better job? Ready to make a move? Start your search for a better local job right now at PortlandJobFinder.com. That's where you'll find local employers that are searching for your talents, skills, and experience. PortlandJobFinder.com is easy to use and totally free for job seekers. Log on now to view hundreds of detailed job listings, upload your resume, and find a better job today. PortlandJobFinder.com. It's free for job seekers and good for business.
Shopping for a new home? Did you know that in the time it takes you to drive to just one house, you could visit 100 without leaving your home? Coldwell Banker Barbara Sue Steele Properties introduces a better way to shop. Find your new home on TV or online, anytime. Hundreds and hundreds of dream homes are now just a click away. On Channel 15 or at cbseal.com. Coldwell Banker Barbara Sue Steele Properties. Discover the joy of home shopping from home.
If you're looking for an entertaining, fun, and positive TV show, you've got to check out PD Exposed. Join Heather Frelia and myself, John Olson, as we continue to expose the people, places, and events that make the Northwest the place to be. We've got some great things in store for you this year, so you'll definitely want to tune in every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday at 7 p.m. on CNW 14. For up-to-date information or to contact us, visit pdexposed.com. Chances are, if it's happening in your town, it's happening on PD Exposed.
The weather is the news. Trust CNN. It's essential.
Hurricane Rita's winds have eased to about 125 miles an hour, but that's still a very powerful storm. To find out what it's like to withstand those kind of winds, our Brian Todd has been spending some time over at the wind tunnel at Virginia Tech University in Blacksburg, Virginia. Brian, you look like you're prepared for this. I hope you know what you're doing, but tell our viewers what you're about to do.
Wolf, we're going to give you a demonstration of just what it feels like for the human body to withstand tropical storm and hurricane force winds. I'm in this harness. I'm tethered here because if I wasn't, I'd go flying about, I don't know, know how many feet back into a chamber and get hurt. This facility measures anything having to do with airflow. It tests landing gear for planes, it tests wind turbines, and it does measure how the human body can withstand these types of winds. I'm going to ask the operator, Bill Ogens, to crank this up. We're going to take it up to about 75 miles an hour, which is just at the low end of a Category 1 hurricane. That is the high end of a tropical storm. We are up now to about 40 miles an hour. The wind is getting obviously more intense. I don't know how well you can hear me. Now we're at 50 miles an hour. We're now at 60 miles an hour. Still a tropical storm. 70 miles an hour. See my face starting to peel back a little bit. And we are at 75 miles an hour. This is the low end of a Category 1 hurricane. The high end of a tropical storm. Gives you an idea of just how intense these winds are. And if you think that this is intense, and if you think that the pressure on me and the G-force was pretty intense for this, we're going to come back next hour, and I'm going to go to a Category 3 strength wind in here. That's about 110, 111 miles an hour, Wolf. They tell me that is the most a human being can withstand in a tunnel like this.
If you could hear me, Brian, we saw your face go through all sorts of gyrations there. What did it feel like?
It's an amazing, it's just an incredible amount of pressure in G-forces. I did a run-through of this earlier when I had them take me up to 110. By the time it got to about 60 or 70 miles an hour, I didn't know if I could stand any more of it. But you can withstand it. Look at the difference here. I'm tethered in here. I've got a harness on. I've got cables. I'm totally safe in here. This is really a good illustrator of what the point of this whole thing is. If you're going to venture out in hurricane-force winds, this is what you're going to be up against.
All right, Brian, we're going to check back with you in the next hour, and we'll see what it feels like to go through a Category 3 hurricane, which is what the people along the Texas and Louisiana coast are about to experience, at least those who are left behind. Jack Cafferty, we left him behind in New York to go through your email. You want to switch jobs with Brian Todd, Jack?
Absolutely not, and I'm at great risk here. I'm not tethered into this chair, so I could get blown out of here at any moment. Question this hour is this: are there lessons that were not learned from Hurricane Katrina? James writes, suggested in the future, this is a good idea, evacuation orders give staggered departure times. Your last name starts with A, you leave at 9 o'clock. Last name starts with B, you leave at 10 o'clock. I guess if your name is Siegfried, you don't leave till next Tuesday. There'll be many more storms this year and next. Rob in St. Louis, Missouri, if Katrina and Rita don't convince policymakers that we need to stop depending on so much oil, then nothing will. Oh, yeah, it'll also benefit the environment and get us out of bed with the Middle East. Bill in Illinois, yes, how about having full tanker trucks at the gas stations before the evacuation? That way they could fill the station's tanks before they run out. Mark in Ontario, we've learned the hurricanes are the ones in control, not us. This spilt milk from Mother Nature brings our government and us to our knees much faster than any terrorist group. And Ralph in Baltimore, Maryland writes, one lesson obviously not learned from Katrina was hubris. Local officials should concentrate on doing their jobs instead of patting themselves on their backs. And there was one other one about the news media crying wolf, but I didn't want to read it because I figured you might get steamed.
All right, Jack, stand by because we're going to get back to you very soon. Good thoughts from our viewers as usual. I want to show our viewers this live picture we're getting. This is Galveston, Texas. You can see the surf really beginning to pick up, but this is only just the beginning of what that community is about to endure. Fortunately, 90 or 95% of the approximately 60,000 people who live in Galveston are out. They're not there, but we're going to go there live. We still have reporters and crews on the scene. We'll tell you what's happening in Galveston and elsewhere. Also coming up, don't forget, we're going to go back to Brian Todd. He's in that wind tunnel. We'll show you what it feels like to experience a Category 3 hurricane. We're also tracking airline flights as Hurricane Rita closes in. We'll tell you what's happening with the situation online. Much more of our coverage from the Situation Room right after this.
Closed captioning hours on CNN, sponsored in part by LendingTree.com. When banks compete, you win.
When you refinance at LendingTree.com, you can save up to $200 a month with a lower rate. Just think what you can do with the money. When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com.
Have a good day. See you tonight.
Okay.
Introducing the all-new Suzuki Grand Vitara. You want more out of life? We're giving you the green light. Go.
Hey, toilet here. Please stop the running. Not just the old handle jiggle. It's the oldest trick in the book.
Don't tighten this screw up too tight or you'll crack the porcelain.
Okay. Thanks, Tim. And don't forget to fix that chair.
Ace, the helpful place.
Do you, Morgan Ambrose Robert, take this woman to be your lawful wedded wife?
Of course, that very much depends on what you mean by the question, do you? Forward-looking statements involve risk and uncertainties. We're opening up a can of worms here. No single answer readily presents itself. I mean, have we really explored every avenue? Have the parties made certain representations, warranties, and agreements in connection with the merger? Do the parties agree to be subject to the satisfaction of the regulatory approvals as required to consummate the transaction? Who amongst us will ever know?
I do.
I pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Less talk. Make it happen. The Royal Bank of Scotland Group.
The medicines, the plastics, the materials, things that make modern life modern come from one place, chemistry. Learn more at AmericanChemistry.com.
It's time people who get loans are treated fairly. That's why eLoan has no lender fees. Check out our current monthly refinancing options. Those are some of the revolutionary ways we're changing the lending industry. eLoan, radically simple.
When you realize how often water touches your family's life, you discover just how important healthy, great-tasting water is. Only Pure has a 3-stage filter. Stage 1 filters sediment. Stage 2 reduces contaminants. And Stage 3 filters over minerals. Pure is available in faucet mounts and pitchers. No one delivers great-tasting water quite like Pure.
With so many hurricane fears, how are the nation's airlines and airports reacting? Our internet reporter, Abby Tutton, is checking the situation online. She's joining us live. Abby?
Wolf, at noon today, Houston Airport System canceled all their commercial flights in and out of 2 airports, Hobby and Bush Intercontinental Airports, ceasing operations for commercial flights from noon today. Some of the major airlines, Southwest, United amongst some of them, canceling all commercial flights right now. Continental, for example, canceled over 1,000 flights. That's almost 1/4 of their daily operation. And we can see how this is looking over the skies above Texas using this online tool, FlightExplorer.com. This allows you to track aircraft activity over the United States in real time, minute by minute radar and satellite signals right now you can see on your screen. And you can see if you look around Texas how much it's been affected compared to, for example, Florida to the right of your screen, which is experiencing normal aircraft activity right now. This is a subscription service. There is an option available to the public which is far simpler, but this is the professional one that we're using right now. Because so many commercial flights have been canceled today, a lot of these planes you're seeing are private ones. We can zoom in on one of those right now. For example, this one going from Fort Lauderdale in Florida to San Angelo in Texas. Private flights still going over Texas right now. Also some commercial flights going over the state, not landing in Houston, obviously, but going over the state. Looking at another one right now, Mexicana Air from Mexico City to Montreal, traveling over that state right now. So this tool allows you to track aircraft activity. If you have been affected by one of these canceled flights, by one of the major airlines, if you were due to fly to Houston, you can go to the website of American United, for example, for information on refunds. Wolf?
All right, Abby, thank you very much. It's approaching 5 p.m. here in Washington, and you're in the Situation Room where we're watching Hurricane Rita knock on the door of Texas and Louisiana, happening now. 4 p.m. Central, along the Texas coast, where Hurricane Rita is closing in. The storm downgraded, but still very dangerous and almost certainly deadly. An extraordinary effort is underway right now to evacuate the sick and the elderly, but the mission is marred by tragedy, a bus fire that killed 24 nursing home evacuees. And in New Orleans, reliving a nightmare right now, Rita's storm surge breaching a levee and reflooding parts of the devastated city. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. The stage is set for severe damage, if not outright disaster, along the coast of Texas and Louisiana. Hurricane Rita closing in. It's now a Category 3 storm, but with winds near 125 miles an hour and a possible 20-foot storm surge, that's little comfort. Max Mayfield, the director of the National Hurricane Center, he's standing by. He'll join us live in the Situation Room. That's coming up this hour. He'll have an update. From Galveston to New Orleans and beyond, conditions are deteriorating rapidly. Wind and rain are gaining in intensity, with landfall now just hours away. Other developments we're following right now. Texas officials say more than 2 million people have evacuated ahead of the storm. The state's emergency management coordinator is predicting some 5,700 homes will be destroyed and more than $8 billion in damage will occur. In Louisiana, an 8-foot storm surge ahead of Rita's arrival, higher than predicted, and more than the already damaged levees in New Orleans can take. Water is already pouring over the Industrial Canal, reflooding the damaged 9th Ward and leaving as much as 40 square blocks under up to 4 feet of water. In Georgia right now, check this out. They're preparing for the fallout from Rita. The governor of Georgia ordering schools around the state closed for 2 days, hoping to save 500,000 gallons of diesel fuel. Let's go straight to our meteorologist, Jackie Jarris. She's joining us now live with a new forecast that has just come out from the National Hurricane Center. Jackie?
Wolf, no major changes in this forecast advisory. In fact, we think Rita has kind of leveled off now. We think the majority of the weakening has taken place, and we think we can expect this as a Category 3 to sustain this strength now as we get it within the 12 to 16-hour window of landfall. 125 miles per hour, the winds stay there, and the location now getting close, 140 miles southeast of Port Arthur, Texas. Here are the main things that you need to know. The bottom line, landfall near the Texas-Louisiana border, sometime overnight tonight, likely near dawn. Category 3, most likely with a storm surge of 10 to 20 feet near and just east of the center of the storm. Rainfall in the path, 8 to 12 plus inches, but as the storm moves northward, it will stall out around the Arklatex region and bring 1 to 2 feet of rain. Here's the projected path, still coming in just to the west of Port Arthur, and that would be where the worst of the storm surge is. There's still time for a little bit of a bobble with this storm, and that could affect significantly of where that is going to be going. Showers and thunderstorms hitting much of lower Louisiana. The winds are on the increase. We're concerned about the threat of tornadoes within this region, and there's a watch in effect. That rain is now pushed into Port Arthur and Beaumont, and the sustained tropical storm force winds have arrived in Louisiana and Texas. 40 miles per hour there in Cameron. Port Arthur, 38 miles per hour. It's got to be actually 39. Beaumont has dropped a little to 21, and there you can see Galveston, 39 mile per hour. It's 39 to 74 for tropical storm force winds. Wolf? So that area, even north, pretty much inland, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, where they converge, they're going to get a ton of rain. Yes, definitely. Wolf, unfortunately, the system is going to be basically stalling out, and we're expecting it to kind of sit there at least for maybe 2 to 3 days, unfortunately, right across kind of the region where northeast Texas meets, along with Arkansas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma.
All right, we're going to get back to Jackie very soon. Thank you. Thank you very much. Officials in New Orleans are realizing one of their worst fears, new flooding in that devastated city. It happened earlier today. CNN's Mary Snow is joining us now live from the scene. Mary?
This is just what engineers were trying to avoid, Wolf. You can see the scene behind me, flooding in a number of parts of New Orleans. And what happened today is in the Industrial Canal levee, 2 areas that had been damaged. There had been temporary shoring up of those damaged parts of the levee, and we've seen water topping over them. The most notable one, of course, happened in the lower 9th Ward, where water was gushing into that area. Now, engineers with the Army Corps of Engineers are saying that they are not surprised that this happened, but they are disappointed that they did not expect this to happen so early on. They expected flooding, but not so soon, because really we've just been seeing the outer bands of Hurricane Rita affecting New Orleans today. How they explain it is that they were prepared for a surge of 7 feet, and it went above that, and you can see that devastated area once again underwater. Here as well, this is a low-lying area that had been flooded, had seen bad flooding after Katrina as well. Wolf?
Mary, as you look at that situation, what are the people saying? Are there any residents who are still there?
Well, we are being told by officials that the places that were damaged hardest today, or flooded hardest, do not have residents in them. And we can tell you from the lower 9th Ward, that is the area we were in the other day, Wolf, when we were showing you those pictures from the back of a truck. And there were recovery teams in that area going door to door, and their primary mission was to recover bodies. And we spoke with the commander of the 82nd Airborne Division earlier today. He said that his members had also gone in there to absolutely make sure that nobody is there, but officials are saying that they do not believe that there were any residents there because it was so badly damaged.
Mary Snow on the scene for us in New Orleans. Thank you very much. Now to Houston. Last hour we heard from the city's mayor on the situation there. Let's check in with Houston's police chief for what's going on. Chief Harold Hurt is joining us on the phone. Chief, thanks very much for joining us. What's it like right now?
Well, right now there's a slight breeze, no serious raining. We're just getting prepared. We got the quiet before the storm right now.
People who evacuated, are they out of there, or still people? Is it too late for people to leave now?
Well, those who have not left at this time, we're asking them to stay in their home or someplace safe and stay there and ride the storm out. We're telling people to stay in place at least for the next 12 to 14 hours.
Have you moved people to shelters in Houston?
Well, yes, we have moved people that was not able to get out or need assistance. We have temporary shelters throughout the city. They don't have a lot of food and water, but we wanted to make sure that we got people away from the weather.
When you say they don't have a lot of food and water, that sounds alarming. What do you mean by that?
They're not long-term shelters. They're just shelters to shelter them from the storm, and then we'll be able to get the necessary food, water, and other attention that they need.
But do they have enough food and water for at least a day or 2 or 3?
We'll be able to get to them before then. We have FEMA here. They have stockpiles, supplies, food, medicine. We have the National Guard. Everybody is well positioned to respond to any location that needs assistance.
Are you bracing for a lot of flooding in Houston?
Yes, we are. We're bracing for flooding as well as wind.
And what about loss of power?
Same thing. We have utility people waiting in queue. As soon as the storm is over, they're going to go into action.
Chief, good luck to you. Good luck to everyone in Houston. Chief Harold Hurt joining us, Chief of the Houston Police Department. I want to show our viewers a live picture we're getting in right now. This is from Clear Lake, Texas. You can see the surf beginning to pick up. It's still a Category 3, winds of about 125 miles an hour. It's going to get worse, though, over the next several hours. Let's show you a live picture of what it looks like in Galveston, Texas. If you remember, over these past couple of days, we've been showing relatively calm surf. It's dramatically picking up in Galveston. It's only going to get worse there as well, not only in Galveston, but in Beaumont, Port Arthur, other communities along the Texas coast, moving closer and closer toward Louisiana. Jack Cafferty is with us in New York, watching all of this. Pretty ominous, I shall say, Jack.
Just watching that camera on the Galveston shoreline looks like it's up on some kind of an elevated position. Do you know where that camera's positioned at?
No, I don't know what it is, but we've been showing that picture now. I hope that camera's in a steady, secure location.
Yeah, you can see it's kind of shaking there. I believe if I was that camera person, I might be inclined to say, well, the camera can do this by itself. I'll be heading over to the Holiday Inn here pretty soon. The number of Category 4 and 5 storms over the Atlantic Ocean has doubled in the last 35 years. This is according to the World Meteorological Organization. And there's a loud chorus of voices that claim that it's all because of global warming. These experts say that hurricanes are getting more violent because of the burning of fossil fuels, which leads to warmer ocean temperatures that in turn allows these storms to intensify. But there are other scientists who say that past hurricanes point to a cyclical cooling and heating of ocean temperatures, and that it's premature to blame these storms on global warming. Nobody knows for sure at this point who's right in this debate. But the question for the hour is, are there things, do you think, that we could do to lessen the intensity of these hurricanes? Cafferty File, one word, CNN.com. I wonder if that's a man-camera position. That's a courageous soul up there if it is.
I suspect it's a robotic camera on a tower of some sort.
Or maybe so.
You see it shaking. You see the wind beginning to shake it. We'll double-check with our people and let you know, Jack.
All right, sir.
Thanks very much. Coming up, evacuating the most vulnerable people in Rita's path, the elderly in nursing homes, our emergency officials avoiding the mistakes made in the Katrina disaster. And we'll go live to the National Hurricane Center for an up-to-the-minute forecast. We'll speak with Max Mayfield, the director. Later, we'll show you firsthand how strong hurricane winds can be. Our Brian Todd, he's suited up, he's standing by, he's ready to be blown away. The wind speed will be kicked up to a Category 3 level. That would be about 110 miles per hour. Brian will show us what it feels like. You're in the Situation Room.
CNN, your hurricane headquarters. Tracking Rita all day and all night.
Come to Priceline now for the best deals on airfare. Name your own price and save up to $100 off other leading travel sites on each ticket you buy.
That's it.
Only at the new Priceline.
Last year, Norfolk Southern and its shipping partners took hundreds of thousands of freight loads off the highway. In fact, they've invested millions to convert even more traffic in the coming years. So it's easy to see how the economy won't be the only thing that benefits. Norfolk Southern, the future of transportation.
Bring balance to your foods with Smart Balance Buttery Spread. The only spread with a patented balance of fats to help improve cholesterol. Smart Balance avoids trans fat naturally. Great butter taste and the right balance. Smart Balance.
Excuse me, what is that?
Oh, that's ING. They're the financial services company that's all about fresh thinking. They're full of new ideas, so you're ready for whatever comes along.
I know about ING. What is that?
It's a guy with his own theme music.
Ask your financial professional about ING.
We started it, we're ending it. September 30th is your absolute last day to get Chevy employee pricing for everyone on most 05 and 06 full-size trucks. From the family of Chevy trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road, and the #1 selling cars, trucks, and SUVs in America. Right now, get a 2006 Silverado 1500 regular cab WT for under $16,200. See your local Chevy dealer.
An extraordinary effort is being made to evacuate the sick and the elderly from Hurricane Rita's path, but tragedy struck today when a bus full of evacuees caught fire and exploded, killing 24 people. Our Zane Vergie is over at the CNN Center in Atlanta. She's joining us now live with more. Zane?
Wolf, they're among the most vulnerable of the millions of people at risk from Hurricane Rita, and right now, an urgent operation is underway to get the sick and the elderly out of harm's way.
It's an airlift unlike any other in recent memory. The Air Force moving some 2,000 sick and elderly people out of Texas and out of the hurricane zone. Baggage carts at the airport in Beaumont now carry precious human cargo instead of suitcases. Loaded onto military planes, these evacuees head off for designated cities across the country, including Albuquerque, Dallas, Louisville and Lexington in Kentucky, Birmingham, Atlanta and Durham, North Carolina. Hospitals in some of those states, like Alabama, are still crowded with evacuees from Hurricane Katrina. Atlanta received this flight on Friday afternoon, an AC-5 cargo plane with 117 patients on board. Some arrived on stretchers, others in wheelchairs, many carrying just a handful of belongings. It was an unusual mission for the veteran Air Force pilot.
Instead of loading them up into like airline-style seats, we were loading these patients and passengers directly onto the flat cargo floor of the C-5. Those people in wheelchairs were in their wheelchairs, and we had cargo straps or very long seat belts securing them to the floor. The other passengers were sitting basically on blankets on the metal floor with cargo straps across their thighs. The first time as far as I know, the first time we had done that since the Vietnam War was 3 weeks ago, Labor Day weekend, for Hurricane Katrina.
The unprecedented effort, sparked in part by what happened during Hurricane Katrina, where dozens of patients drowned in this nursing home outside New Orleans. The owners are now facing negligent homicide charges for failing to evacuate them. Their attorney calls the allegations categorically false, but even the best intentions are no guarantee against tragedy. This bus, loaded with ill and elderly evacuees from a nursing home near Houston, caught fire and exploded near Dallas, apparently when a wheel caught fire and a spark ignited patients' oxygen tanks. At least 24 people on board were killed.
Deputies attempted to assist the rest of the people on the bus off the bus when a series of explosions occurred. The deputies were unable to get all of the people off the bus before the bus became fully involved.
More than a dozen people did get off that bus alive, but many of them are suffering injuries, including cuts and bruises, as well as burns and smoke inhalation. 9 were taken to hospital, and one's reported to be in critical condition. Wolf?
All right, Zane, thank you very much. Zane Burgee reporting for us. That tragic accident on Interstate 45 involved evacuees from a Brighton Gardens nursing home near Houston. The facility is owned by Sunrise Senior Living. Paul Clausen is the founder, the chairman, and the CEO. He's joining us now live on the phone. Paul, thank you very much for joining us. Given the information you're getting, what have you been told about the cause of this tragedy?
Well, this is the entire Sunrise organization. It really is devastated by this tragedy, and our hearts and prayers will go out to all the residents, the family and friends of the residents that have been affected by this. I'm sure you can appreciate that our top concern is always the safety and the well-being of the residents, and that is why they were being evacuated. And I'm actually calling you from an airport, a hotel, and I'm trying to make my way down to Dallas with my wife early tomorrow morning. And the reports I'm hearing are similar to what you've just reported. And so I don't want to speculate now, but it does appear that, there was a terrible fire, and exactly what caused it, we're not sure. But it is clear, too, that I think the heroic actions of some Good Samaritans and the compassion of the Sunrise team members that were on the bus. We had 6 members of our staff on the bus with the residents.
How many people were on the bus that required oxygen, which potentially exacerbated clearly this problem?
I believe at least 2 residents, it's been reported to me, or required oxygen.
And were the personnel on the bus trained, equipped to deal with this kind of transport situation where you have oxygen inside a bus?
Yes, we have very well thought out evacuation plans. Wolf, we evacuated very successfully residents in Houston as a result of Katrina just a few weeks ago. In fact, I believe a couple of these residents were evacuated from New Orleans to Houston. and then again now from Houston to Dallas. And we had at least 1 or 2 RNs, or maybe 3, on the bus. And again, they were all involved in the very, I think, courageous and heroic actions of pulling people along with others that came to the aid of the bus and noticed it smoking. This charter bus, it appears to me that their actions may have saved really many lives.
Paul Clausen is the founder, the chairman, the CEO of the Sunrise Senior Living Center. Thanks very much, Paul. Our hearts go out to all those families. What a tragedy. In Galveston, Texas, the surf is already up. We're showing you some live pictures coming up. The city that could see either a direct hit or hurricane-force winds. Our David Mattingly will bring us a live report of the situation there. And it's hard to describe without having actually felt it. That would be the strength of a hurricane-force wind. Our Brian Todd is in a wind tunnel. He'll show us what it feels like, what a Category 3 hurricane really feels like. All that coming up this hour.
Stem cell research has raised a lot of questions and a lot of eyebrows in recent years. Professor Kevin Egan is searching for a way to sidestep the controversy by using older cells from adults rather than embryonic cells.
Cells in the adult body have a very limited ability to transform into other cell types. That means that cells from your liver don't generally go and become neurons from your brain.
This ability, called developmental potency, is very common in embryo cells, making them more appealing for therapeutic cloning. But Egan says the key is to give the older adult cells that same transforming ability.
To be able to take an adult cell and directly transform it into an embryonic cell would alleviate the need for destroying human embryos in the course of embryonic stem cell research. We're still making exciting advances in figuring out how to manipulate these cells, figuring out how to produce the different cell types that we're interested in from them.
The new cells could then replace damaged cells in Parkinson's patients or even deliver insulin to those with diabetes.
Explorers is sponsored by Infiniti, who uses the power of design to create dynamic, beautiful automobiles.
All design begins with a single line. A line that challenges. A line that creates power, or control, or size. At Infiniti, a line has been drawn.
Tonight, special Newsnight coverage as Hurricane Rita comes ashore. Where will it strike hardest? Wherever it does, we'll be there. Newsnight, CNN, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Many big developments to tell you about in the
Real news in the morning.
We are tracking the investigation.
American morning.
Emergency services are responding.
What happened?
Major corporate scandals.
What's happening?
The police are continuing.
What's essential? American morning. Real news. Soledad O'Brien and Miles O'Brien. American morning. Weekday mornings on CNN.
Sponsored locally by Vic Alfonso Cadillac. What other luxury dealerships try to be.
By now, you've heard how the conditions on the Gulf Coast continue to deteriorate in the wake of Hurricane Katrina.
And no matter where you live, this is the type of news that affects all of us.
And the important thing to remember is that you can play a part to help those in need. Visit redcross.org or call 1-800-HELP-NOW.
They need our help. They need shelter. They need clothes. They need food.
Please, make a difference. Play a part.
You'd be saving lives.
When the weather is the news, trust CNN. It's essential.
Imagine how much energy it takes to fuel an entire city of 1 million households, day and night, for 6 years. That's how much energy Kerr-McGee will recover from just one deep water field with just one production spar that produces offshore oil and gas where we couldn't before. Nobody delivers America's energy to Americans like the deepwater explorers of Kerr-McGee.
Cocoa. Rainbow wings. Check this out.
The new Swiffer Sweep and Vac picks up dust and hair with the cloth. Big stuff with the vac. Better than a broom and dustpan.
Is that amazing? For what?
Let me try that.
No.
The new Swiffer Sweep and Vac. Stop cleaning. Get Swiffer. Go online for a money-saving coupon.
Come on, my slipper.
Let's get a quick check of what the situation is like right now in Galveston, Texas. At most, Hurricane Rita could roar ashore early tomorrow with devastating damage. At least city could be hit with hurricane force winds. All of that very, very significant. David Mattingly is on the scene for us. And give us a sense of what's happening now, David.
Well, Wolf, the winds are picking up now. The gusts are getting stronger as we go through the day, and you might be able to see the rain collecting on the lens of the camera right now. We're seeing our first real rain, some of those bands now coming in and affecting us here. It's not a lot of rain, but in typical Gulf storm fashion, it's coming in at us sideways, getting blown at us rather hard right now. But this city is actually going to catch something of a break from this storm as it tracks further to the north. It puts this city on the less intense side of the hurricane, where at one time they thought they were going to be run over ground zero for a Category 5 storm. They are now going to get hit tonight, according to the latest forecast, with 75 to 90 mile an hour winds coming in later tonight, and a storm surge of only about 7 feet over what they would normally have, which is something that the 17-foot seawall is more than capable of handling. One thing we did not expect to see also, this was a very successful evacuation with 9 out of 10 residents seeking shelter, going off onto the mainland for their safety. Some of those people are now coming back, these people who were stuck in their cars on the expressway. Local officials said it's okay for them to come back and ride the storm out in their homes, much safer than being in their cars on the roadway. Wolf?
All right, David. David Mattingly reporting for us from Galveston. How much wind can a human being withstand? Coming up, our Brian Todd will try to help us better answer that question. He's standing by live in a wind tunnel where they'll crank up the wind so it'll feel like a Category 3 storm. And what about those too weak or too sick to evacuate before the storm? Our senior medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, is at one of the only hospitals staying open. Stay with us.
Presenting Blue from American Express, the card with no annual fee and an introductory rate of 0% for up to 15 months with a low APR after. Call 1-800-600-BLUE or visit us online to get yours. You can pay over time, which makes this card remarkably flexible. It has a free rewards program with so many choices, it'll make your head spin. Plus, it has a fraud detection system which gives you extra security when you shop. All this with an introductory rate of 0% for up to 15 months and a low APR after. Call 1-800-600-BLUE or visit us online to apply. Blue from American Express.
Summer of '65. That's Jenny Nielsen.
She's cute.
That was a fantastic summer. We were the only ones on the block who had a real pool, so everybody came. Spent all day in the water, the sun baking on my head.
You look like a lobster.
I lived in the sun.
Yeah.
Remember those carefree days in the burning sun? Your skin remembers. If you've seen a dermatologist about those rough, scaly spots on your head or face called actinic keratosis or AK, you know there are probably more still developing. Left untreated, AK could lead to serious skin problems. So why wait? Visit treatak.com or call 800-TREAT-AK for your free sun and skin information kit. You'll learn more about AK and the proven alternative to treat the AKs you see, as well as the ones nearby still developing underneath. Call 800-TREAT-AK or visit treatak.com today. Take care of the future now and help your happy memories stay happy memories.
Man, I love that pool.
Why do we work? Why do we get up every day and go to work? Because we make things, fix things, send our kids off to learn things. At the Principal Financial Group, we know you don't just work to retire, you work to live. That's why we give people the financial tools to help them keep more of the money they make and do more with the money they save. You work hard. We make work hard for you. The Principal Financial Group. We understand what you're working for.
Stop treating me like a dead shrub, Nancy. I'm gonna beat this thing. Seriously, all the bushes point at me, they laugh at me. It's embarrassing. Oh yeah, dropping off your laundry, right. Why don't you just put it under the name Shrub Killer?
Feed it once a week, no more than a tablespoon per gallon. Should be okay. Thanks, Jen. No problem, Nancy.
Oh, hey, look at me.
Let me guess. You forgot the grass seed.
Ace, the helpful place.
CNN, your hurricane headquarters.
Show you some live pictures of the surf that we're getting right now. These are live pictures coming in from Galveston, Texas right now. That surf beginning to pick up. It's going to get worse in the coming hours. And here are some live pictures we're getting from Clear Lake, Texas. You can see the surf beginning to pick up there as well. Rita has weakened a little bit, but it's still a Category 3 storm. That's a major hurricane, still very capable of bringing major destruction to the Texas and Louisiana Gulf Coast. Joining us now is Ed Rappaport of the National Hurricane Center in Miami. The latest information you're getting is that people still have to be very, very worried about this storm.
That's right. It's a large storm and still very intense. In fact, I saw your images there from Galveston. We just got a report from Galveston Pier that the water level's already come up 4 feet there. So it's pushing a lot of water out ahead of it. And the largest rise is going to be when the center comes ashore, and just to the right could be on the order of 10 to 15 feet, locally higher.
What do we specifically think it will be worse along that coast, the maximum sustained winds, the worst moments?
At this point, it looks like landfall will come around dawn tomorrow, maybe an hour or two earlier, and that's when the strongest winds will be pushing onshore. It'll also be pushing in the strongest or the highest surge, the largest waves. Of course, this is going to be a period that's going to last for 6 to 12 hours in terms of the very rough weather, maybe even longer right along the center portion of the hurricane. So conditions are deteriorating now. There are tropical storm force winds, at least in gusts on Galveston Island. The winds are deteriorating increasing all along the coast now.
What about New Orleans specifically? What do we anticipate there?
Now, for New Orleans, this is a zoomed-in radar picture, and you can still see the eye of the hurricane way off to the south and west. Here's the coast, here's New Orleans, and here's Lake Pontchartrain. You can see a lot of showers and thunderstorms still moving across the area. Locally heavy rain, 3 to 5 inches of rain. And these are coming ashore on these easterly winds, which are bringing the tide and the surge up here as well. We expect 4 to 6 feet at maximum, probably near midnight tonight with the high tide cycle. Come down a little bit, but we have another high tide cycle, of course, 12 hours later.
We're showing our viewers at some live pictures of the reflooding of New Orleans. I'm sure you've seen that already. I assume those people in New Orleans, whoever's left, they should be bracing for more flooding?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the status is of the levees there. We do know, of course, that the water has risen and will probably come up a little bit more, and as we said, reach its maximum probably around midnight tonight.
We saw the pictures of the devastation from Katrina, specifically in Mississippi, along the water, along the Gulf Coast over there. The people, the homes in direct harm's way, are you expecting the scenes to be in Texas, Louisiana, along that border, to be similar to what we saw in Mississippi?
Similar, but probably not quite as extreme. We have a simulation here of what kind of storm surge we're expecting. Remember, we were talking about storm surges in excess of 20 feet, approaching 30 feet along the Mississippi coast. In this case, we're talking about a storm surge of 10 to 15 feet, locally 20, still very large. Of course, we have the wave action on top, which will create a lot of the damage along the coastline, but not as heavily populated here as it is over in the Mississippi coast.
Ed Rappaport, thank you very much. We'll be checking back with you and your colleagues all the time. Do you want to know what it feels like to be in a major hurricane? Our Brian Todd is about to give us a pretty good idea, at least a sense of what it feels like. Brian is live with some university researchers over at Virginia Tech University in Blacksburg, Virginia. You're strapped in, and explain to our viewers, Brian, what you're about to do.
Wolf, I'm about to take you to a Category 3 hurricane force wind in this chamber. This is called the Wind Stability Tunnel here at Virginia Tech University. It measures everything from it tests everything from plane landing gear to wind turbines, but it also measures how the human body can withstand hurricane force winds. Now, at some point, you're not going to be able to hear me speak. At that point, Dr. William Davenport, who runs this center, is going to narrate for you and tell you what speed I'm up to. I'm going to ask the operator, Bill Ogens, to crank it up right now. We're now at about 20 miles an hour. Wind is intensifying. I have to hold this right up to my mouth or else nobody can hear me. That's why the microphone is where it is. Now to 40 miles an hour. Feels very intense, and I'm starting to feel the pressure forces against my face. 60 miles an hour. 70 miles an hour at this point.
We're now at 74 miles per hour, Category 1. 80 miles per hour. 85. 90. 96, Category 2, 100 miles per hour, 105, 110, 111, Category
2. Wind's coming down now, probably now at about 30, back down into the 20 range. I don't know how much of that you could actually hear me versus how much Dr. Davenport had to narrate there, Wolf, but it gave you some idea of the force of a Category 3 hurricane wind. That was up to 111 miles an hour. That's the lowest wind speed for a Category 3. So it gives you some idea what people will deal with if they try to venture out in this type of force.
Don't try this at home. I'm sure that's good advice. But Brian, what do you feel like? What was it like? Because I don't know how our viewers felt, but I'm sure that a lot of them felt like I did. They were pretty scared what you were doing.
Well, they did a run-through with us before and gave us an idea of what to expect, and we did a practice run, so it wasn't that scary when you're actually doing it. But it feels like, I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, The Right Stuff, where the astronauts are going through all the G-force training for NASA and the Mercury space program. It felt a little bit like those exercises, and you saw that video, the faces being peeled back. It is an incredible amount of force. That's just a Category 3. And you can imagine what a Category 4 or 5 hurricane can do, Wolf.
Well, no one in their right mind would be out, even a Category 1 or 2. Especially if they're not strapped in like you are with the goggles and all the protective gear that you have, because it's an amazing feeling. Had you ever experienced anything remotely like that, Brian?
Never, Wolf. Never with the force like this. I've been through hurricanes before, but of course, you know, if you have any sense, you're inside. So, no, the people who try to venture out in this is what they're going to be dealing with. I mean, I literally, they told me before we went in here, don't try to walk, because I could get blown all over the place. I could hit against the sides of this thing. And look how tightly I'm tethered in here. I'm really moored down, and it was still pretty frightening and very, very intense.
Brian Todd, thanks very much for helping us better understand the force of that wind. Brian Todd's at Virginia Tech University in Blacksburg, Virginia. And to our viewers, once again, do not try this at home. There's a lot of safety precautions that Brian and the researchers at that university have taken. Coming up, we'll show you how flooding could devastate one city in the path of Hurricane Rita. And we've been asking you this hour this question: is there anything we can do to lessen a hurricane's effect? Our Jack Cafferty has been reading your email. He's standing by to join us. Much more of our special coverage as Hurricane Rita.
Now, when you stay at Ramada, you'll earn points towards the things you really want with the largest hotel rewards program ever. Trip Rewards. It gives you more rewards more often for more fun. Ramada. Sweet dreams.
No Venetian blinds. That's why Geico.com is so simple. Or is it because you can get help if you need it and get a free rate quote in minutes? 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Simple as that.
The Subaru Outback, the go-anywhere, do-anything sport utility wagon. It makes other vehicles seem prehistoric, or at least pre-Subaru. Subaru Outback.
Through October 3rd, get $1,000 customer cash savings or 1.9% APR for well-qualified applicants on all 2006 Outback models.
Lots of Wi-Fi users work in coffee shops.
which aren't always the best places to work. Wouldn't it be great to work wherever you wanted instead of only in hotspots? Now you can with Verizon Wireless Broadband Access. Wi-Fi only works in limited locations, while Broadband Access is the nation's largest high-speed wireless broadband network and is expanding coast to coast. Now get unlimited access at a great price, so you won't get stuck in a not-so-hot spot. Verizon Wireless, we never stop working for you.
Last year, Norfolk Southern took hundreds of thousands of freight loads off the highways. This year, they have the capacity to handle even more. Norfolk Southern, the future of transportation.
A special CNN primetime Saturday night. Katrina, now Rita. A killer hurricane season roars on, and CNN is there. Anderson Cooper, Paula Zahn, Larry King, and Aaron Brown lead a night of special coverage. Tomorrow night, 7 Eastern. Is America ready for the next disaster? CNN Sunday night.
I consider detailed emergency planning to be a national security priority.
We travel across the country and find out, is America prepared? A CNN Security Watch special, Sunday night, 8 Eastern.
Closed captioning provided by dermatologist recommended Sarna anti-itch lotion.
Are you caught in a vicious cycle of itching and scratching? Get Sarna lotion. Soothing Sarna contains 2 medications to stop itch fast. Suffer no more. Get dermatologist recommended Sarna lotion.
We're just getting some new video in from the Department of Defense. I want to show it to our viewers right now. The effort to save people's lives, in effect. These are on evacuation flights on U.S. military Air Force C-5s continuing throughout the day from Beaumont Airport yesterday, Beaumont in Texas, to Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. They're bringing the elderly, the young, the infirm. They're trying to get as many people out as possible. This was happening yesterday, last night. There have been several of these flights aboard C-5s as well as C-130 Hercules military transport planes. You see them on the floor of these giant aircraft as they're being saved. They're being sent from Beaumont, which potentially could be in the eye of this direct storm, moving out of harm's way to Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio. As Hurricane Rita makes its way toward Texas, some cities are worried about the flooding it could cause. Joining us now, our internet reporter, Abby Tatton. She's monitoring this part of the story. What are you learning, Abby?
Well, Wolf, the storm path right now is heading just to the west of Port Arthur, Texas. And I wanted to show you on this computer model what this might look like in terms of the flooding there. Officials predicting extensive flooding around that area. If we just zoom in here, we're going to near to Sabine Lake right here. If we just zoom in, the white line there you're seeing is the border between Texas and Louisiana, and Port Arthur is where we're looking at right now. If we just take you in a little bit closer, you can see we're going south of Beaumont here. There's Port Arthur. This is a community with just a few less than 60,000 people, and we're going to show you what the flooding might look like. It could be 10 or 20 feet, and we have a model here that will show you. This here is just 4 feet right now. This would just be 4 feet of water in this community. You can see already extensive around there. If we double that to 8 feet here, already a lot more flooding, almost extending all the way up to Beaumont there. 18 feet would completely submerge the area, as you can see right there. And this wouldn't be the first time. In fact, in 1961, Hurricane Carla brought in 18 feet of flooding right there. So this is Port Arthur bracing for the worst with the storm, Wolf.
All right, scary stuff, very scary stuff. Now we understand why that community is basically a ghost town right now, as it should be. There are already preparations underway for fuel shortages after Hurricane Rita. Rita, let's check in with our Ali Velchi. He's in New York. He's got the bottom line on that part of the story. Ali?
Well, you know, one of the things I've been talking about is that we want to distinguish between shortages that are caused by, you know, really immediate supply issues in a local area like Houston and those around it, or after Katrina like we saw in Atlanta. Obviously, people in Atlanta are a little bit nervous about this whole operation because one of the pipelines that goes from the south through Atlanta and up to the northeast was affected by Hurricane Katrina, and we saw some price gouging in effect in Atlanta. Now, we've got, you know, you can see that there are still gas stations where people are lining up, and those are from Georgia, actually, that, you know, we saw a lot of this after the last hurricane. Now, Sonny Perdue, the governor of Georgia, has come up with an interesting suggestion. I haven't quite worked this one through yet to understand whether it makes a lot of sense. I think his heart's in the right place, but here's what he wants to do in Georgia. to help out this fuel situation.
I'm asking our school systems to take 2 early snow days on this Monday and Tuesday. That's September the 26th and the 27th. This will allow our schools to be closed down for 4 days, which will also help with the energy consumption within the building itself, as well as the travel associated with that. This will save almost 500,000 gallons of diesel fuel in that act alone.
It's an interesting point because we are seeing some of these pipelines either shut down for safety reasons or because there's not enough diesel fuel or gasoline to go through them and distribute. You know, as I say, Wolf, I think his heart's in the right place. I'm not sure that that's necessarily going to be more helpful than it's harmful in terms of parents who now have to find something to do with their kids on Monday and Tuesday. But in Atlanta public schools, in Georgia public schools on Monday and Tuesday are going to be closed to save 500,000 gallons of diesel fuel.
All right, Ali, thank you very much. Ali Velshi with the bottom line for us. These are live pictures we're getting in from Clear Lake, Texas. The surf beginning to get a little bit more agitated. It's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. We're only hours away from Hurricane Rita, a Category 3 storm with winds of 125 miles an hour. We're expecting early tomorrow morning this hurricane to land along the Texas-Louisiana border. Some people can't easily escape. Our senior medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, is with hospital staffers and their patients. They're staying behind in Lake Charles, Louisiana. We're going to speak with them after a short break. And storm after storm, do you have to sit there and simply take it? Is there anything that you can do, that all of us can do, to lessen the force of these hurricanes? We'll hear what you have to think. We're also getting these new live pictures coming in. Check this out. Take a look at this, New Orleans. The levees did not work today, at least in 2 locations. The rain coming down now. It's pounding in New Orleans. And the situation there, the reflooding of that city, about to get worse. These are pictures coming in from Galveston, where the surf is clearly up. People getting ready for extremely bad weather there as well. We'll watch all of this, much more coming up.
Hurricane Rita takes aim at Texas.
A lot of damage.
CNN's severe weather team
Call for a mandatory evacuation
along the coast.
All eyes now on Texas.
Tracking the storm.
Lots of updates.
Everything you need to know. On air, online. Stay with CNN for live coverage around the clock. CNN, your hurricane headquarters. Tonight, special Newsnight coverage as Hurricane Rita comes ashore. Where will it strike hardest? Wherever it does, we'll be there. Newsnight, CNN, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Mattress World's made a special purchase.
Right now, get a Sealy Firm Plush or Pillow Top Queen Set for just $3.99.
That's right, a Sealy Firm Plush or Pillow Top Queen Set for just $3.99.
Also, get no interest, no payments for 1 full year.
Quantities are limited. When they're gone, they're gone. We can't beat any price on any comparable mattress, and the mattress is free.
It's not too late to sleep like a baby. Mattress World.
Mattress World, 185th and Cornell, next to Burger King.
Shopping for a new home? Did you know that in the time it takes you to drive to just one house, you could visit 100 without leaving your home? Coldwell Banker Barbara Sue Steele Properties introduces a better way to shop. Find your new home on TV or online, anytime. Hundreds and hundreds of dream homes are now just a click away. On Channel 15 or at cbsteel.com. Coldwell Banker Barbara Sue Steele Properties. Discover the joy of home shopping from home.
Baseline to baseline. Forehand to backhand. Slam to slam. Nobody covers tennis like ESPN and ESPN2. We're all over the clay, grass, and hard court scene. Serving up the top players in the world wherever they play, all season long.
Tennis on ESPN and ESPN2 is brought to you locally by
Pacific Continental.
back. GSN, the network that brings you Amazing Race and Millionaire, presents GSN Rewards, powered by My Sony, where you can earn points by watching and playing with your TV. It's all free. Sign up at GSN.com. Tune into GSN and play along on your PC with 8 shows. Earn 1,000 points, save hundreds on Sony stuff. Plus, bid with your points to win exclusive auction items. Watch, play, and earn with GSN Rewards, powered by My Sony. Sign up at GSN.com.
Weather is the news. Trust CNN. It's essential.
Let's check in with our senior medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. He's joining us now live from Lake Charles, Louisiana. That's in southwestern Louisiana, very near the direct path of Hurricane Rita. He's at Christus Hospital, one of the few in the area that's staying open. What's it like now, Sanjay?
Yeah, well, it is just starting to pick up out here. It's been interesting. We've been watching those images on the radar images about how quickly the wind and some of these outer bands are starting to hit. We're not seeing much in the way yet, but 25 to 30 mile an hour winds, lots of rain starting to come down now. We are right outside Christus Hospital, the only hospital in this area that is remaining open. We had a lot of conversations with the doctors, with the staff about that. Earlier today, when the weather was a little bit nicer, they were still getting some patients who wanted to leave. Voluntary evacuations out of here. They actually took some of those patients out on military helicopters. The Hueys actually landed in a graveyard just next to the hospital. The helicopters landed. They moved the patients out on stretchers and evacuated. But there's still about a half a dozen or so patients remaining here. The hospital is going to remain open as well. The observation is very different than the charity hospital where I was at during New Orleans. The generators, for example, are above sea level. They don't expect those to short out. They have plenty of water. They stockpile food for about 8 days. They think they're going to be safe to take care of patients for the next several days. Well, this easy.
All right, good luck over there, Sanjay, and good luck to all the people there as well in Lake Charles, Louisiana. The agonizing exodus ahead of the storm. My next guest knows about that very, very well. 2 vehicles she'd hoped to use to get away simply broke down. Now she and 3 others are stranded. They're hunkering down with food, water, and an axe to break through the roof should waters flood the 1-story house they're in right now. Linda Prudhomme is on the phone. She's joining us from Lake Charles, Louisiana as well. How nervous are you, Linda?
I'm okay so far.
What is it like where you are right now?
Well, we're getting, the wind is really picking up now. We're not having a lot of torrential rain right now. I've seen a lot more rain in our area before, but it's steady. But the wind is really starting to pound, and so we're getting a little bit anxious, I think.
How high are you, Linda, right now? Because if there's flooding, that obviously is going to cause a lot of problems.
Yes, I'm in the close to the downtown area. I'm like maybe 3 or 4 to 5 miles away from the Lake Charles itself. And they've been showing us pictures of the lake, and the water is starting to kick up. So I'm hoping that some of the buildings in the downtown area will help to break the wind and the water a little bit.
And you're there with an evacuee from Katrina, is that right?
Yes. I have a girl that I work with at the hospital from New Orleans that was evacuated from New Orleans to come down here to get away from Katrina. And she's staying with me right now, so she's kind of went from bad to worse here.
Well, Linda, good luck to you and your friend and to everyone who is stuck there. We'll check back with you to make sure you're okay. We wish you only the best. It's not your imagination. We are seeing more and more powerful hurricanes, at least right now. But is there anything that any of us can do about it? Your thoughts, that's coming up here in the Situation Room.
The HP Blade System server powered by Intel Xeon processors. Consolidation made easy.
This is Jim's dream vacation. The trouble is... Give me all of them. This isn't Jim. It's Maurice who stole Jim's debit card while Jim files police reports. Presenting the American Express Traveler's Check card. The safety of traveler's checks in a convenient card. It's prepaid and not linked to your bank account. If it's stolen, your balance is replaced in 24 hours.
Big problemo.
It's your vacation. Why lose it? The Traveler's Check card from American Express. Order yours now and get a free companion airfare.
What cooks like butter, spreads like butter, and has a fresh dairy taste like butter, without the cholesterol and high saturated fat? Smart Balance Buttery Spread. Smart Balance just received another Best Taste Award and is endorsed by professional chefs. It's the only spread with a patented balance of fats to help increase HDL good cholesterol and avoids trans fat naturally, not artificially as some spreads do. Smart Balance. You're going to love that buttery taste.
With more and more ways to communicate, how do you make faster connections, stronger papers, brighter inks, and electronics that are smarter, smaller, more energy efficient, and easier to use? By using the right chemistry. Improving the things we all need is a goal worth talking about, and it's ours. Dow. Living. Improve daily.
We started it, we're ending it. September 30th is your absolute last day to get Chevy employee pricing for everyone on most 05 and 06 full-size trucks. From the family of Chevy trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road, and the #1 selling cars, trucks, and SUVs in America. Right now, get a 2006 Silverado 1500 regular cab WT for under $16,200. See your local Chevy dealer.
Partners.
McPhee & Associates, King Brokers. Hi.
Now with free incoming plans from Sprint Business, it's easier to say yes when customers call. And with our buy one, get one free deal, you and your company can say yes. Sprint Business gives you free incoming calls from all phones, all networks, all the time. So you can make just about any place a workplace. Call 888-863-9835 or visit a Sprint or Nextel store today. Sprint Business. Yes, you can.
Now at CNN.com, special coverage of Hurricane Rita. New video as the storm drives inland. Raw first-hand accounts with on-the-scene CNN's reporter blog. Complete coverage of Hurricane Rita. Now at CNN.com.
We'll show you some pictures now. First of all, 2 days ago, the surf in Galveston, Texas, it was relatively very calm. In fact, check this out. You can see those pictures right there. That was then, and this is now. What a difference. A couple days. This was actually yesterday, 24 hours later. But take a look at the next picture, because these are live pictures, what's happening in Galveston, Texas right now. And you know what? In the coming hours, it's going to get a whole lot worse in Galveston, up and down that Texas and Louisiana Gulf Coast. Let's check in for a final time with Jack Cafferty. He's standing by in New York.
But a couple of dozen viewers write and tell us that the camera taking those pictures is atop the flagship hotel, Wolf, in Galveston Bay. It's a hotel that's built on a pier that goes right out into the bay. I hope it's still there tomorrow night. The numbers of Category 4 and 5 storms over the Atlantic doubling in the last 35 years. The debate, is it a weather cycle? Is it global warming? The question, are there things we can do to lessen the force of these hurricanes? George writes, we can get barges to bring in chunks of ice from the Antarctic, put it in the Gulf, lowering the temperature of the water and the intensity of the hurricanes. Brent in Irvine, California, nothing we can do to weaken the hurricanes. The government has tried for decades and failed. What we can do is stop building so much along the Gulf Coast. There's no excuse having tens of millions of people and so much of our oil infrastructure that serves the other 200 million of us in such a vulnerable place. John in Buffalo, reducing fossil fuel consumption is imperative, regardless of its impact on our climate. Just look at the price of gas, et cetera, et cetera. Arlene in Fort Lauderdale, we live in Florida. We have both natural and man-made reefs off our beaches. Is it possible to drop some man-made reefs into the Gulf to break up the storm surges in the future? Robin in Florida, since there's so much political debate on global warming, let's line up every politician in the country along Galveston Beach and have them start talking. Maybe all the hot air will turn the storm and blow it in the other direction. And Amy in St. Mary's, Georgia, how to lessen the effects of these killer hurricanes? Drink heavily.
Amy in St. Mary's, Georgia's got a sense of humor. All right, Jack, thanks very much. We'll see you here on Monday. We're in the Situation Room every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Stay with CNN for continuing live coverage of Hurricane Rita throughout this night and into the weekend. One important programming note, we'll have a special early start time for late edition this Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll have a 3-hour late edition, the state of emergency, Hurricane Rita. Till then, thanks very much for joining us. I'm Wolf Blitzer in Washington. Lou Dobbs tonight starting right now. Lou standing by in New York.
Well, thank you, and good evening, everybody. In just a few hours from now, coastal residents of eastern Texas and western Louisiana will be facing the full force of Hurricane Rita. Rita is driving massive storm surges and bringing with it torrential rainfall. Rita is now a highly dangerous Category 3 storm with sustained winds of 125 miles an hour, even higher gusts. Those winds are expected to drive a storm surge of as much as 20 feet into the coastline. Current projections suggest the likely point of impact is the Texas city of Port Arthur. Officials predict the entire city could be flooded. There is already serious new flooding in New Orleans tonight after an 8-foot storm surge overwhelmed damaged levees. Floodwaters pouring into the devastated city, quickly reaching a depth of more than 4 feet. And in a highway tragedy linked to Hurricane Rita, as many as 24 evacuees were killed when their bus caught fire on an interstate near Dallas. The bus was carrying residents of a nursing home located near Houston. We have reporters all along the coast of eastern Texas and western Louisiana tonight as powerful winds are pushing storm surges along the coast. We begin with Mary Snow in New Orleans. Mary?
Lou, what New Orleans was hoping wouldn't happen did. We are seeing more flooding in New Orleans. This is the first time since Hurricane Katrina that its battered levees have been tested. What happened today is that water topped over 2 damaged sections of the Industrial Canal levee. That's a levee that connects Lake Pontchartrain and the Mississippi River. And the Army Corps of Engineers is not calling this an official breach of these damaged levees, but clearly you could see water pouring in throughout the day to the lower 9th Ward. One military official telling us by midday that he experienced water that was 4 feet deep in about a section of that area, 30 to 40 blocks. Now, the engineers did expect flooding. They just didn't expect it to happen so quickly. They expected it to happen over the weekend. And as you mentioned, engineers saying that a storm surge over 7 feet is what caused that water to top off. The Army Corps of Engineers is saying that it is positioning crews and equipment to try and shore up these fragile areas when it can. Lou?
Mary, first, is there considerably more rain expected, and are we to expect even more flooding over the course of the weekend?
Well, one would have to assume so, Lou, because this is really just the first day of this rain, and we are getting pockets of rain and wind, as you could probably imagine and see for yourself, coming through. The forecast had called for several inches of rain, but over a longer period of time. And because the flooding is happening is quicker than engineers thought, one could assume that they'll probably experience more flooding in these low-lying areas.
Mary Snow from New Orleans, thank you very much. Let's go now to Rob Marciano. He's in Beaumont, Texas. That's just inland from Port Arthur, which is expected to be directly in the crosshairs of this powerful hurricane. Rob?
Hi, Lou, you're right about that. Just up the road from Port Arthur, just to the west of Orange, Texas. Those 3 cities make up what's called the Golden Triangle here in southeast Texas, and it looks like they may very well fare with the front of the storm. Behind me is the Neches River, one of the many rivers that slide through not only Texas but southwest Louisiana, and it's going to be really what sets this storm apart from, say, the Katrinas and the Ophelias that passed. Right now you can see the wind is blowing up my back out of the northeast, so that's good. It's blowing with the current and pushing, for the most part, this water out to sea, or at least down towards Sabine Lake, where it belongs. But you can see past that drawbridge, there are a number of fishing vessels, and beyond that, military cargo vessels that are tied down in anticipation of what could be a 20-foot storm surge right here. but also the live oak trees. This is an old city that has a lot of history. There are lots of these old 50 to 100-year oak trees here, thick in the trunk. But you can be sure when over 100-mile-an-hour winds start coming through here, their foliage is going to be all but gone. It will be a spooky sight, that's for sure. Right now, the waves on the Neches River are lapping up against the side here, but what we have to be concerned about is when the winds turn southerly, that's when the surge is going to come in. Not only this river, but also the Sabine River that slices across the border of Louisiana and Texas, back towards the Calcasieu River and Lake Charles. It dumps into Lake Charles itself, then Big Lake, and then into the Gulf of Mexico. All of those rivers are going to be stopped as far as their normal drainage is concerned, and then the floods and storm surge are going to be pushed up. It could be up to the I-10 corridor, 10, 15, 20, 40 miles inland potentially for this storm, and we'll be retreating from this position as that happens. You know, though they haven't had a major hurricane come through here in several years, some would say that this area of the country is overdue, especially after what the Panhandle has been put through. But the folks here in Beaumont certainly don't want to hear that news. Most of them, most all of them really, are gone. An evacuation like I've never seen before. This legend here, right now, winds blowing about 25, 30 miles an hour, and rains are pretty steady. Back to you.
Rob, thank you very much. Rob Marciano from Beaumont, Texas, just inland from Port Arthur, which is going to be the point of impact for Hurricane Rita. The outer bands of this hurricane are also hitting the city of Galveston, Texas tonight, located just southwest of Beaumont. Some low-lying areas of that city have already flooded. Nearly all of the 60,000 residents have fled to safety. Sean Calebs reports now from Galveston. Sean?
Indeed, Lou, this thin strip of barrier island really agonized over the past several days as Rita churned in the Gulf of Mexico, many fearful that the eye was going to pass right over this area or dangerously close. Well, it looks like it's going to skirt this area and the weak side of the storm. As you can tell right now, we're getting hit by a little bit of rain, some gusting wind, nothing too terrible at this moment. I'm sure you can see the Gulf behind me churning out there. There's a 17-foot seawall right behind me that leads down to the beach, and that was put up after the punishing hurricane back in 1900 that killed more than 6,000, the single most deadly hurricane to ever hit the U.S. People in this area know the history of that. They take hurricane warnings very seriously. Also, the vivid images from Katrina still very fresh in their minds, so the mayor, other city leaders doing everything they could over the past 48 hours to tell people to evacuate this low-lying area, to get to other areas of the state for safety. And certainly one of the things that clogged up those major roads, interstates over the past 24 hours. Now, the area you're talking about that flooded is just down about those 7 or 8 miles from where we are to the west of us. The flood wall only protects about 10 miles of this strip of island that runs about 31 miles. And we saw even last night, around midnight Eastern time, the water began pouring over from the Gulf and beginning to flood roads and low-lying areas. Also a big concern, the bay is just not terribly far from where we are, and in essence they're concerned that as this storm continues, the high tide comes up, those two water areas are going to meet each other. But really good news compared to what they had feared. They were concerned that they would get a tidal surge, a storm surge of somewhere between 28 and 30 feet. Well, that has been pared back dramatically. The mayor saying a little more than an hour ago they are expecting a storm surge of about 7 to 8 feet. So certainly very good news for people on this island, property owners, business owners. As you mentioned, there are about 60,000 people on this island. We've been all over this island the past few days, and very difficult to find anybody out. We know of a few people who have been holed up for safety. We had a talk with a police officer earlier today, and he said he heard estimates that perhaps 95% of the city had evacuated. He thinks it could be even higher than that. There is an emergency command center in a hotel here right on the strip. It's occupied by medical officials, military officials, emergency officials, and they're going to monitor this storm. It certainly is going to be weak, but it's not going to be anything to be taken lightly. They're expecting winds. It could get about 100 miles an hour. The time that they're really going to be concerned, Lou, from about 8 p.m. Eastern time to about midnight as those outer bands really begin lashing this area. Lou?
Sean, thank you very much. Sean Calebs from Galveston. Like Galveston, Houston, America's fourth largest city, it will probably be spared a direct hit from the hurricane. Houston, a city of almost 2 million people, is a virtual ghost town nonetheless tonight after a massive and chaotic hurricane evacuation. That evacuation turned deadly this morning. At least 24 evacuees, most of them elderly, from a nursing home near Houston, were killed when their bus caught fire. Bob Franken is live in Houston with the story. Bob?
Well, as you point out, Lou, even before the storm has hit, it has caused terrible tragedy. Those victims came from this nursing home in suburban Houston. They were on their way up Interstate 45, which, of course, has been a chaotic jumble of traffic. Their bus got just south of Dallas when apparently there was a fire in the brakes, according to authorities. Regrettably, these were people who were old and infirmed. These are people who, many of them were on oxygen tanks, and the officials believe that those oxygen tanks caught fire, as you might expect, and exploded. And now they believe that there are at least 24 who died in that, and several others injured, but at least one of them is also critical. The investigation is still going on. Part of it will be done by the National Transportation Safety Board. It was very poignant when that bus accident occurred. It backed up traffic even worse on I-45, so officials decided to move the bus before they had removed the victims from that bus. So they pulled it very gently to the side of the road and then did what they had to do with those who had not survived the fire while the traffic began crawling again on I-45. And of course, it has been crawling, gargantuan traffic jams in the last day or so as the city of Houston tried to evacuate. The people did get out. Tonight we see that the surrounding highways are now pretty much free and clear, and Houston is having one of its finest traffic days ever because just about everybody is gone. One other thing, the mayor has said that he is not going to be publicizing any homeless shelters for those who stayed behind. He said that he wants people to stay in place. The only time somebody will be brought to a shelter if he is in dire jeopardy. Lou?
Franken from Houston, thank you. Joining me now for the very latest forecast on where and when Hurricane Rita will strike is Ed Rappaport. He's Deputy Director of the National Hurricane Center in Miami. Ed, where do you expect this storm to make landfall, the principal target at this hour?
We expect the center to make landfall in less than 12 hours, just before daybreak tomorrow, in the upper Texas coast to near the Louisiana border. But again, as we know, this is not just a point, this is a large storm. Hurricane force winds extend out about 100 miles to the right of the storm. That's where the storm surge and the winds are going to be strongest.
And those winds, hurricane force winds extending out 100 miles, Ed, tropical storm winds, how far beyond that?
Tropical storm force winds extend out almost 200 miles, and in fact, that course brings that contour over the coastline, and in fact, in the last hour or so, we've had gusts reported to over 50 miles per hour in both Galveston, Texas, and Lake Charles, Louisiana.
And our reporter Mary Snow from New Orleans, obviously winds there were picking up, rain sufficient to breach the levees already. What can that region, the New Orleans area, expect here in your best judgment?
Yeah, my expectation isn't that it isn't the rain so much that have caused the problem there, but rather it's the winds and the squalls that are associated with them. Strong east winds to near tropical storm force have pushed water up to 4 to 6 feet above normal levels there, and we're going to see that reach a maximum probably around midnight tonight at the next high tide cycle.
And Ed, the storm has weakened to a Category 3. What should those people along the coast be expecting in terms of the strength and the power of the storm now, when it does hit in about 12 hours?
We think that it will remain about at Category 3 intensity, so maximum winds will be at least 115 miles per hour with gusts above that. And of course, those winds are driving the storm surge, so everywhere east of the center is going to have a storm surge, perhaps extending out for 100 miles on the order of 10 to 15 feet, locally to 20 feet. So to the right, to the east of the center is going to get the highest storm surge, and waves will be on top of that.
Oh, boy. Ed, thank you as always. Ed Rappaport from the National Hurricane Center. We'll have more from Ed Rappaport later here in the broadcast as we update you on the progress of Hurricane Rita. Also tonight, chaos on the highways as more than 2 million people try to evacuate the Texas coast. We'll have a special report on another huge failure in our preparations for a major disaster. President Bush was due to visit Texas today before the arrival of Hurricane Katrina, but the White House changed the president's schedule at the last minute. We'll have a report for you. And Hurricane Rita threatening to inflict major new damage on our energy industry less than a month after Hurricane Katrina. How this massive new storm could affect fuel prices in the days, weeks, and months ahead. Stay with us.
believe for all the ways we can help you survive an accident, we should provide just as many to help you avoid one. The all-new 2006 Sonata, the only mid-size sedan with electronic stability control and 6 airbags standard. It's a Hyundai like you've never seen before.
Salmon spend most of their adult lives in the ocean. After maturing, they migrate back to spawn in the same rivers and streams where they were born. It is here that many a salmon's life is cut short. However, there is good news. I just saved a bunch of money on my car insurance by switching to Geico.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
CNN Tonight, the last day before massive Hurricane Rita's expected roar into Texas. The latest on the final desperate preparations and evacuations with reporters inside the monster storm's target areas. Larry King Live, CNN Tonight, 9 Eastern.
As Hurricane Rita bears down, American Morning is there. For the latest updates on preparations and evacuations, watch American Morning, CNN tomorrow, 6 a.m.
Let Empire Glass replace your cracked windshield, and we'll give you 24 free dinners to Sherry's Restaurants, where you'll enjoy great food and delicious pies all day, every day. And we offer free mobile service to your home or office. So for the highest quality windshields and 24 free dinners to Sherry's, call Empire Glass today at 503-251-9881. And remember, when you think glass, think Empire.
Shopping for a new home? Did you know that in the time it takes you to drive to just one house, you could visit 100 without leaving your home? Coldwell Banker Barbara Sue Steele Properties introduces a better way to shop. Find your new home on TV or online, anytime. Hundreds and hundreds of dream homes are now just a click away. On Channel 15 or at cbsteele.com. Coldwell Banker Barbara Sue Steele Properties. Discover the joy of home shopping from home.
When the weather is the news, trust CNN. It's essential.
The first bands of rain from Hurricane Rita are now hitting the Texas and Louisiana coast. The center of Hurricane Rita, it is now a Category 3 storm, is headed straight for Port Arthur and Beaumont, Texas. The National Hurricane Center says the storm will come ashore with winds of about 120 miles an hour. In New Orleans tonight, a new flood emergency. 2 already damaged levees have been breached. Those breaches were caused by an 8-foot storm surge in front of Hurricane Rita. And in southern Texas tonight, traffic jams have been so severe there that some residents have been forced to turn back and return to their homes. Some residents of Galveston were allowed to return tonight because they were stuck in traffic and could not move north. The evacuation nightmare in South Texas has raised new questions about our nation's disaster preparedness again and the effectiveness of our nation's homeland security system. 3 weeks after the disastrous response to Hurricane Katrina, critics are saying this evacuation should have gone much smoother. Kitty Pilgrim reports.
The road out of Houston, a parking lot.
It took me 12 hours to go 10 miles. It's been a disaster. We saw people camping on the freeway last night. They had pitched tents because there was no place to sleep. People were running out of gas.
A scramble to bring in more gas.
A lot of the service stations were closed or out of gas, so we're kind of making this up as we go. We've never had a evacuation this large.
At the airport, Houston officials offered passengers another way out by bus.
Our operations staff has been making announcements, walking alongside the lines and asking people, do you want us to provide you assistance if you can't get out?
Nature has come up with a 1-2 punch named Katrina and Rita.
It's obviously a horrific event. The whole city is very upset about this. You know, we've handled 2 waves of evacuees now. We've never had anything this horrible happen.
We moved 2.5, 2.7 million people in basically a 24 to 48 hour period of time. And obviously, traffic was excruciatingly slow at times out there, but the immediate and the ultimate goal of getting millions of people out of the way of this storm has been achieved.
Now, there's been every reason for local and state officials to be prepared. The planning was in place. There was time to prepare. But Katrina and Rita, unfortunately, proved to different degrees. Officials are still not ready, Lou.
Kitty, thank you very much. Kitty Pilgrim. President Bush was expected to be in Texas tonight for a first-hand look at emergency preparations there for Hurricane Rita. His visit, designed in part to prevent any repeat of the criticism that the president and his administration faced after Hurricane Katrina. But the White House changed the president's schedule at the last minute. Suzanne Malveaux reports now from the White House. Suzanne?
Well, Lou, initially President Bush was supposed to travel to San Antonio, Texas first, and of course the White House spokesman Sal McClellan saying that he was going to be visiting with search and rescue teams there, but that FEMA made the decision they wanted to reposition those teams closer to where the storm was, that the president did not want to slow or delay that process. So the president instead is on his way to Colorado Springs, Colorado. That is where the headquarters of U.S. Northern Command, that is where he'll be tracking Hurricane Rita. All of this, of course, coming when the White House has a heightened sense of sensitivity here about how it is being perceived. President Bush earlier today was at the FEMA headquarters in Washington where he received a briefing from officials, and already critics are beginning to question all these meetings, this travel, whether or not these are simply a series of photo ops. President Bush was asked by a reporter whether or not traveling to Texas would actually get in the way of the military recovery operation.
We will make sure that my entourage does not get in the way of people doing their job, which will be search and rescue immediately. And rest assured, I understand that we must not and will not interfere with the important work that will be going forward.
So, Lou, the White House and the president very much aware of the perceptions here. The last time, of course, receiving scathing criticism that he just was behind the ball and all this, responding quickly enough. The president and the White House also aware of the criticism coming that if they move forward, perhaps some of these events would be seen as simply photo ops. Now, we don't know whether or not the president is going to have an event or a speech when he arrives at the Northern Command Center. We do know tomorrow he's going to be having breakfast with the troops. He'll also tour the emergency operations center there as well to try to figure out, his spokesman says, just how the communications is working between federal, local, and state officials. Lou?
Well, Suzanne, the president has taken responsibility for the failures to respond in Hurricane Katrina. It's not often any leader at any level gets a second chance so quickly to assert leadership. He certainly can't be criticized this time for not being involved and engaged.
Well, you know, it really is a catch-22 for the administration. On the one hand, if he lays back or steps back a little bit, as you know, what is normally his management style is to delegate and to let others take responsibility. He does not, generally speaking, like to move too quickly because he doesn't want to get in the way of operations. We have seen that many times in the past, but obviously people criticized him before. They do not want to face that again, but they face criticism for moving forward and appearing in public as well.
Thank you very much, Suzanne Malveaux. Appreciate it. Still ahead, key refineries in Port Arthur, Texas are directly in the path of Hurricane Rita. Our nation's energy crisis could worsen if those facilities are damaged. We'll have a special report next. And New Orleans, flooded once again, a new levee breach, setting back recovery efforts there. We'll have the latest for you from one of the top officials of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Stay with us.
I said, let's get started right. Let's not three-putt this thing to start off the golf tournament. And I hit the button, wham, right in the hole. And what a boost, what a confidence builder. And, you know, then the tournament was mine.
In golf, confidence and the ability to make the shot when you need it is the mark of a champion. Like Jack Nicklaus, the Royal Bank of Scotland Group know it's never good enough just to talk a good game. You have to play a good game. Make it happen.
The Oracle Grid, a group of low-cost servers connected by Oracle software. Now, if a server fails, the grid just keeps running. The Oracle Grid runs faster, costs less, and never breaks.
The medicines, the plastics, the materials, things that make modern life modern come from one place, chemistry. Learn more at AmericanChemistry.com.
Do your homework.
homework. Clean your room. Brush your teeth. Mow the lawn. Comb your hair. Feed the dog. When was the last time you only had to tell your kids something once? Telling them not to smoke is no different. Talk about it early and often. Go to keepkidsfromsmoking.com to learn more about Lorillard Tobacco Company's Youth Smoking Prevention Program.
Can you tell the difference between these pet medications? They're the same brand, but this medication costs a lot less and is delivered right to my door. That's the 1-800-PET-MEDS difference. Great savings, fast service, free shipping. Order now.
For the second time in less than a month, much of our energy industry is now being forced to a standstill by a major hurricane. Offshore oil rigs and platforms, refineries along the Gulf Coast all closed tonight ahead of the hurricane. This unprecedented assault on our energy resources will be felt by all of us all across the country. Bill Tucker reports.
The numbers alone are alarming. 1/3 of this country's refining capacity. 1.5 million barrels of crude pulled up every day. Another 5 million barrels offloaded from ships. All stopped.
But it's more than that. It's also where the natural gas in the Gulf of Mexico comes in and gets processed and sort of fixed up to be able to be used and burned at your stove and for industry. Also, it's where the petrochemical industry resides. This is it. I've described this storm in particular as almost as a potential heart attack for the nation's energy infrastructure.
As of this evening, 99% of oil production and 72% of natural gas production in the Gulf of Mexico was shut down. Nearly 30% of the country's daily refining capacity has been lost in preparation for Rita and as a result of Katrina. We are losing just about 4.5 million gallons of gasoline an hour because of the standstill in the Gulf. The price at the pump will go up.
In an instance of two natural disasters, one on top of the other, the industry will do everything it can to get everything back immediately, but it's unrealistic not to expect there to be some impacts.
But there's no question that the impacts on production and refining, and in the case of natural gas processing plants, has made a tight supply situation tighter.
And that supply is going to remain tight, Lou, under even the best case scenario. Production is not expected to resume for at least a week.
Bill, thank you very much. Bill Tucker. We reported earlier on the disastrous evacuations in Texas. We'd like to know what you think about the issue of evacuations in this country, whether from natural disasters or terrorists. Do you believe the development of fast and effective evacuation procedures for every American city should be a top priority for local, state, and federal officials? Yes or no? Cast your vote at BlueDobbs.com. Hurricane Rita is now expected to slam into the coast of western Texas and eastern Louisiana with full force, now in less than 12 hours. Joining me again with the very latest on this hurricane is Ed Rappaport, Deputy Director of the National Hurricane Center in Miami. Ed, have we seen any significant diminishment in the wind and the speed and the power of this hurricane?
Well, we certainly did yesterday when it went from Category 5 to 4 and then down to Category 3. We haven't seen much change over the last 6 to 8 hours, and so we still expect now a landfall at Category 3 intensity.
And the storm surge, there had been some speculation that there would be huge storm surges. Have you been able to cut those estimates yet?
Yeah, the estimates are down from what they could have been for a Katrina-like hurricane or for what Rita was earlier, but still, major hurricane in this area is going to produce a storm surge of 10 to 15 feet, and you're going to have wave action on top of that. And historically, most of the lives lost in this country in hurricanes have been due to storm surge, so we're really glad that the people have gotten away from the coastline.
Now, you're projecting this storm hitting just before dawn tomorrow. How powerful do you expect this storm to remain as it moves inland beyond Port Arthur, Texas, as the center point?
Yeah, we do expect this landfall to occur before daybreak tomorrow, and we have a graphic here that can show you what the inland impact is going to be. Here's the coastline, and the area in red is the area we're expecting to have hurricane force winds, and that could extend inland up to about 100 miles along the track of the hurricane. In addition, there'll be rainfall in this area, and unfortunately it looks like the storm will slow, maybe even stall near northeastern Texas. Could get rainfall in excess of 25 inches, so there's potential for a flood risk inland areas and a flood risk, of course, along the coast from the storm surge.
Ed Rappaport, thank you very much from the National Hurricane Center. Coming up next, a storm surge from Hurricane Rita is already overwhelming New Orleans flood defenses. I'll be talking with a top official of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers about what they're doing tonight and what they expect the damage to be. Stay with us.
Oh, that's not a birthday cake, that's a fire hazard.
Well, it's tough hitting the half-century mark.
Oh, no.
I'll tell you a good thing, though.
Oh, no, please
No. The good thing is reaching a point where the kids are all set, and the plans are made, and suddenly, finally, not having to spend every waking moment worrying so much about money.
Right, here.
You're the financial guy. Let's hear from the birthday boy. Happy birthday.
Thank
When you work with a Morgan Stanley financial advisor, you get someone unusually devoted to your dreams, one client at a time.
The plastics, the materials, the medicines, things that make modern life modern come from one place, chemistry. Learn more at AmericanChemistry.com.
Sharp multifunction products transform the office by adding enhanced color to your documents. Then Sharp technology doubled your productivity by scanning two-sided documents in a single pass. Now Sharp's Data Security Kit is transforming the office again by preventing unauthorized access to information while keeping sensitive digital documents from falling into the wrong hands. The Sharp Digital Imager series, all the productivity you want, all the document security you need.
The impact of Hurricane Rita is already being felt, of course, in New Orleans, where an 8-foot storm surge has already breached the levees there tonight. Floodwaters are rushing over those damaged levees much earlier than officials had been expecting. And joining me now on the phone from Port Allen, Brigadier General Robert Creer of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. General, how bad do you believe these breaches to be?
Sir, good afternoon. Sir, what we have is, and they're not breaches, what we have is overtopping. And these are overtopping levees where they had breached in the past, that we had done temporary closures to those levees. And those are located near the Industrial Harbor Navigation Canal in New Orleans, both on the east and west sides. The temporary levees were made to elevations 7 to 8 feet. So what has happened is water from Hurricane Rita rose beyond this and overtopped those temporary closures. It's a combination of winds and storm surges that were higher than these levees could withstand. At this early time period, since we were able to unwater the area and then close the levees.
Now, General, as you describe it, the water is simply flowing over those levees. You're confident that their integrity remains intact and effectively?
Yes, sir, that is in fact true. We've had people out on the ground all day inspecting other levees, inspecting the entire length of this particular levee. The good thing right now is that the water inside the industrial canal has fallen 1 foot since the reading we took this morning at 8 o'clock.
Well, that's excellent. Do you expect that to continue even with the heavy rainfall that is on its way as a result of Hurricane Rita?
Right now, the biggest problem we have or issue is from the surge. The surge, again, over 8 feet is what topped the levee. That causes the volume of water. Right now, pumps, as you know, we had actually pumped that area dry with our pumps, and so we're pretty confident that any rain from 3 to 9 inches over this period of time that our pumps can, in fact, could handle that.
Well, outstanding, General, and you and all of your people doing an amazing job there, which is what we always expect of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. General Creer, thanks for being with us.
Sir, you're welcome. Thank you.
One of the hardest parts of evacuating towns and cities, of course, ahead of any major storm is helping those who cannot help themselves. Evacuating the sick has been a major challenge all along the Gulf Coast. Dr. Sanjay Gupta joins me now from Lake Charles, Louisiana. Sanjay, how tough is it when one thinks of all of the intensive care units, the nursing homes, convalescent centers, I mean, it's mind-boggling to think about preparing evacuation for those people.
Ventilators requiring several different medications. Sometimes it's just too big a gamble to try and evacuate them rather than to just keep them here. Now, having said that, a lot of patients do get evacuated. It was difficult to evacuate some patients from this hospital earlier. They actually had to land Army helicopters in a graveyard site just next to the hospital and evacuate patients like that. They also had several ambulances lined up here last night to evacuate patients that way as well. But less than half a dozen or so remain in the hospital. Basically, the goal to try and keep them stable through this hurricane. They're hoping they don't lose power. They're hoping they don't lose water. If those things happen, it's obviously going to make it much more challenging.
Sanjay, hoping they don't lose power and maintaining the operation. Is there adequate generators and foodstuffs and material to make their way through the storm?
Not clear.
I don't hear anything.
We can't hear your question.
I think Dr. Gupta is not able to hear us. As you can tell, there's already plenty of weather there. We apologize for those technical problems. From 9/11 to New Orleans, officials have seen their disaster response efforts collapse because of poor communications. That was only one example, and we apologize again for it. The FCC is now demanding that shameful, dangerous lapses in communication surrounding natural disasters end, and that emergency workers get the communications equipment that they need. Lisa Sylvester has the report.
3 million telephone lines were knocked down when Hurricane Katrina roared ashore. 911 call centers forced to shut down. And police, firefighters, and emergency workers operating on different communication systems could not talk to one another. With Hurricane Rita barreling down on the Gulf Coast, the same problems are expected.
It's a scandal that we cannot yet have first responders talking to one another 4 years after 9/11. This is so obvious, so simple, so urgent that it be done that it's outrageous.
The 9/11 Commission detailed how the lack of communication cost lives in 2001. Yet more than 90% of the nation's cities still do not have emergency radio systems that link local police, fire, and emergency units.
I can assure you that CNN, General Motors, IBM could not operate using the kinds of tools that we ask these folks to use doing the most important job in the United States.
The Federal Communications Commission is pushing for an integrated mobile wireless system that can be rapidly deployed anywhere in the country for emergency workers, first responders with smart radios that can switch between available networks on multiple frequencies, and a 911 system that can automatically reroute calls to another region.
We need to, first of all, free up special frequencies, and we need to change our system from the existing telephone system, analog, and make it digital, so when a real crisis comes, these 911 call centers will be able to receive the calls.
Some of those frequencies will come from local television broadcasters who are switching to digital TV. Congress would like to move up the deadline for handing over the spectrum to first responders, now scheduled for 2009.
But money continues to be an obstacle. It's estimated that it will cost about $15 billion for state and local agencies to upgrade their communication system. An amendment has been introduced here on Capitol Hill that would provide $5 billion in grants over the next 3 years. Lou?
A month since Katrina, but nearly a little over 4 years since September 11th, and we're still not ready. Lisa, thank you. Lisa Sylvester. A reminder now to vote in our poll tonight. Do you believe the development of fast and effective evacuation procedures for every American city should be a top priority for local, state, and federal officials? Yes or no? Cast your vote at BlueDobbs.com. Still ahead here on the Texas Gulf Coast tonight, it is too late to evacuate. A live report from Beaumont, Texas as Rita approaches, and the poor, again, in the path of a powerful hurricane. Our special report on this country's most vulnerable citizens living on one of our country's most dangerous coastlines. Stay with us.
At UBS, we offer our clients serious financial resources. Over 100 years of experience, the expertise of the world's largest wealth management firm, and, of course, the most serious resource of all, a relationship with an advisor who actually understands you. Wealth management at UBS, from wealth preservation to lending and investment. You and us. UBS.
When I look back on everything, I see 100 years of moments, 100 years of our incredible history. I was there when the first keg was tapped. I've seen the growth and optimism of a young country and all the great minds that give us reason to celebrate. I've been there for the glory, and I've been there for when it hurts most. I was there the day she said yes, and all the yeses after. These are the moments that matter, the ones we savor with the champagne of beers. Because that's when you shine. And when you shine, I shine. We go hand in hand, you and I. I'm the girl in the moon, and I want to tell you everything I know. Everything there is to savor. Everything.
Dell has great deals on PCs waiting for you now. Get this Dimension desktop with an Intel Pentium 4 processor for the amazing price of $499. And enhance your PC with the McAfee Security Center for just $79. With the power of an Intel processor and the security of McAfee, it's all you need to keep your PC running smoothly. Notebooks start as low as $549. Get more out of now. Dell PCs use Intel Pentium 4 processors.
The Oracle Grid, a group of low-cost servers connected by Oracle software. Now, if a server fails, the grid just keeps running. The Oracle Grid runs faster, costs less, and never breaks.
Hurricane Rita is tonight closing in on the Texas and Louisiana coast with 125-mile-an-hour winds. The massive hurricane is projected to strike Port Arthur, Texas, early tomorrow morning. Gary Tuckman reports now from Beaumont, just inland from Port Arthur. Gary?
Lou, hello to you. We are in Beaumont, which is 15 miles to the west of Port Arthur. That's where we spent much of the day, and that is a city that appears to be in a lot of trouble. That's because it is only 5 feet above sea level at its highest point, other points below sea level. It sits right next to the Sabine Lake. It is expected, according to police and fire officials in that city, right on the coast of Texas, the southeast coast, that there will be flooding with over 20 feet of water in the streets, not just by the water, but inland for several miles. So they asked everyone to evacuate. It is literally a ghost town. I've never seen an evacuation like that. It almost seems like a scene from the Twilight Zone, but everyone's gone, including all the local police and fire officials. They all left 4 hours ago to go past where we are here in Beaumont. There are some sheriff's officers from Jefferson County, that's the county that Beaumont and Port Arthur are in, who have remained behind, but we saw nobody in the city of 56,000 who remain. There's a lot of concern that the people who've all gone will have nowhere to go back to because they think it will be under feet of water when this is all over. The weather's deteriorated, but it's nothing like it will be 9, 10, 11 hours from now. Lou, back to you.
Gary, thank you very much. The sheriff of Jefferson County, of course, includes Beaumont and Port Arthur. He's planning to ride out this storm in a courthouse so that he will be in position to respond quickly as the storm passes. Sheriff Mitch Woods joins me now from Beaumont. Sheriff, what have you done to prepare for this storm? Do you feel like you're ready?
I think we're ready as we can be at this point in time. This is the first time we've had to prepare like this. We're getting with the drill now. First thing we concentrated on was trying to do everything we could to have a safe and orderly evacuation. After that, late last night, we moved all of our jail inmates from our direct supervision facility on Highway 69 downtown here to a maximum security facility. All my correction staff are present down here, as well as most of my law enforcement staff. We have patrol deputies out on patrol right now. but I think we're as ready. We've tried to position all our rolling stock and equipment so that it's out of harm's way, and so that we can bring it back into use as soon as we get the all clear.
Sheriff, as Gary Tuckman was reporting, and before that Rob Marciano, you're going to get huge floodwaters there, it appears now. How you've talked about moving rolling stock into safe positions. You're positioning yourself and your officers and deputies in the courthouse. How far do you have to get from that coastline to be safe?
Well, we're right here almost on the banks of the Nature's River, but we've got a courthouse facility here that's very well constructed. We don't have all our staff here. We'll pull some of our deputies back to high ground so that they can respond to the areas that may not be underwater. We have a lot of our equipment that is right now sheltered in two massive military sea lift ships that we have access to because of our port here. They've been a tremendous asset for us, so we've got a lot of equipment staged there. We've got 2 helicopters we'll be able to launch from the deck of that ship once the all clear is given, and we have some boats in position there that we can launch from the ship also if need be.
Well, Sheriff, I know you've got a tough night. All of your officers, all of your deputies have a tough night ahead of you. We wish you and all the folks in Jefferson County there all the best. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Hurricane Rita will hit an area of the Gulf Coast that, like New Orleans, has levels of poverty far above the national average. It is as if these hurricanes are seeking out poverty at some of its most extreme levels. 3 weeks after the Katrina disaster, this new hurricane is once again forcing Americans, all of us, to confront issues of poverty and race that we have ignored for some time. Christine Romans reports.
Another monster storm revealing vulnerability and massive poverty along the Gulf Coast. In Rita's path, poverty almost double the national average. 22% of Galvestonians live below the poverty line. In Texas City, 15%. In Houston, 19%. High rates in Baytown and Beaumont. In Port Arthur, a quarter of that population is poor. 20% in Lake Charles, Louisiana.
It isn't just the 20% or 25% who are below the poverty line. You have a lot of people who are just a little bit above the poverty line who can barely make ends meet in good times. And if they lose their belongings in the hurricane, they're going to fall into poverty themselves. We could have much higher poverty rates by next week.
These Texas towns are above sea level. That could limit the flooding that inundated poor neighborhoods after Katrina. But poverty and disaster experts predict a very tough time for the Texas Gulf Coast poor.
Perhaps in a large family, one person had a good steady job and they supported a large network of friends and family. And those people are all spread around and scattered now and displaced from their jobs. So it's just one more bad thing that's happening to them in a long series of problems they're having.
These Texas coastal cities have higher poverty rates than the rest of Texas, where white Texans are the least likely to live in poverty. In Houston, only 7% of whites are considered poor, 26% of blacks, while Hispanics are slightly poorer than blacks.
There is great debate about why there are these concentrations of poverty along the Gulf Coast, a debate touching on low wages, public assistance, and race. But what many agree, putting hundreds of thousands of poor people in shelters, tent cities, and FEMA trailers, maybe for weeks and months, it probably won't do anything to break this cycle.
No, and it's extraordinary that these poverty levels are this high along a coastline, which is, again, counterintuitive. Most of us assuming that people are better off, frankly, along the coastlines, and worse off in the interior. It's just quite the opposite.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Christine Romans. Heavy rains and winds from the hurricane are beginning to hit New Orleans already. Today, the storm surge from Hurricane Rita was too much for the city's damaged levee system. Water pouring over 2 damaged levees. Water is once again streaming through New Orleans neighborhoods, particularly the 9th Ward, which suffered major damage from Hurricane Katrina, of course. 9th Ward resident Ernest Weems joins us tonight by phone. Despite pleas from officials, Weems is one of those who refuses to leave the city. Ernest, why have you decided to stay there in New Orleans with the onset of Rita and more flooding and more rain?
I survived the first storm, and I'm working right now in the flat tires and working for the NLPD, and I was just trying to help out whatever I can, wherever I can, and just try to hang in there with it. I went through the first storm, so I think the second one wouldn't be too much,
Well, you're reasoning that if you could survive Katrina, that Rita, at least according to the projections, that you would be no worse off. Does it seem to you that the storm is going to affect you considerably tonight, do you believe?
No, not that I know, not to my knowledge. I just take one step at a time, and then trust in that good guy above.
Did they ask you to leave?
No, they didn't ask us to leave. They told that the water getting high. If we wanted to leave, I chose not to leave. I said, well, as long as I can fix plastic to help somebody else, I'm not too particular want to leave. Because really, this is my hometown. I'm born and raised in New Orleans.
Well, Ernest, we wish you all the best of luck. We thank you for talking with us, and get through this evening and the morning safely. Ernest Weems. Still ahead, price gouging. It's been widespread during this deadly hurricane season. One group of governors is now demanding action from the White House, demanding that price gouging be stopped. I'll be talking with the governor of Wisconsin, and we'll have the very latest for you on this hurricane as the dangerous, powerful storm heads for the coasts of Texas and Louisiana. Stay with us.
Hurricane Rita. Stay on top of the story. Live all-night coverage as the storm comes ashore. When the weather is the news, trust CNN.
Many big developments to tell you about in the
Real news in the morning.
We are tracking the investigation.
American morning.
Emergency services are responding.
What happened?
Major corporate scandals.
What's happening?
The police are continuing.
What's essential? American morning. Real news. Soledad O'Brien and Miles O'Brien. American morning. Weekday mornings on CNN.
Sponsored locally by Vic Alfonso Cadillac. What other luxury dealerships try to be?
Classic Antiques New Arrivals event. Over 500 fresh additions for home and garden have just been unpacked. We've gone far and wide to put together the Northwest's most inspired home furnishings collections. A mixture of antique and new, formal and country, whimsical and funky await your discovery in our expansive warehouse showroom, where constant deliveries and massive quantities of goods, often stacked to the ceiling, elicit a sense of anticipation and discovery. Classic Antique, the authority for vintage and antique reproduction home furnishings.
You can really see the difference at Willamette View, Portland's premier accredited senior retirement community. You'll love the lifestyle and views from its landscaped acreage on the Willamette River. A variety of activities, social, cultural, and wellness programs. The vitality of this senior community is unique and vibrant, like no other. Come see the difference for yourself. Come see why Willamette View got its name.
Shopping for a new home? Did you know that in the time it takes you to drive to just one house, you could visit 100 without leaving your home? Coldwell Banker Barbara Sue Steele Properties introduces a better way to shop. Find your new home on TV or online, anytime. Hundreds and hundreds of dream homes are now just a click away. On Channel 15 or at cbsteel.com. Coldwell Banker Barbara Sue Steele Properties. Discover the joy of home shopping from home.
The weather is the news. Trust CNN. It's essential.
Bringing you right up to date on the latest on Hurricane Rita. This dangerous Category 3 storm is expected to make landfall just before daybreak tomorrow near the border between Texas and Louisiana. The storm weakened somewhat today, but it is still expected to slam into the Gulf Coast with winds of 120 to 125 miles an hour. The Gulf Coast could see storm surges as high as 15 feet. Rita is expected then to stall over northeast Texas, where it could dump as much as 20 inches of rain. Many Americans are paying far more than the national average for a gallon of gasoline these days. Governor Jim Doyle of Wisconsin, along with 7 other governors, is demanding an investigation into price gouging in the wake of these natural disasters. Governor Doyle joins me now from Los Angeles. Governor, how widespread is price gouging in your home state, first of all?
Well, the individual gouging, I don't think, is widespread by retailers in this, but the basic fact is this. Gas went up 60 cents a gallon in a day at the time of the hurricane. It stayed up at that level for a couple of weeks. There was no shortage of supply. We've been told by the federal government there was no shortage of supply. So we in Wisconsin just ended up paying 60 cents more per gallon, a total of $88 million excessive dollars that we paid. And I want Congress and the President to tell us who made that 60 cents a gallon and to find a way to restore it to the people of the state of Wisconsin and the United States.
Well, Governor, I think that's a great idea. I think most of us who are buying gasoline would say that's a great idea. But we also look to our governors as well as the federal government for some help here. A number of states here on the eastern part of the United States, our governors have said there's price gouging. We've reported on price gouging here, and the state governments are saying, well, there's not anything we can do about it. And I guess my question to you is, why not?
Well, at the state level, if we find, and we've got investigators out, if we find somebody has gouged, we have difficulty with some of our laws. We have a pretty good law in Wisconsin, and then we can proceed on it. But that's not the, and we're going to do that. If an individual, then we can handle that at the state level. If the oil companies have put their prices up 60 cents at the time of a hurricane without any shortage problems at all, and that 60 cents has gone far up the ladder, not from the retailer, but up the ladder, there's really not much a state government can do, and that's why the federal government has to address it.
What do you think, very quickly, if you would, Governor, what should Congress, the President, the federal government do right now to stop it?
I think they should issue subpoenas to the major oil company executives. I think they should make them come in. I think they should have to open their books, and I think they should find out who made the 60 cents a gallon, and then they should, in some manner, find ways that they reduce that price or in some way return that money to the consumers of the United States.
Wisconsin Governor Jim Doyle, thank you very much, Governor.
Thank you.
The results now of our poll, 91% of you say the development of fast and effective evacuation procedures for every American city should be a top priority for our local, state, and federal officials. Coming right up, we'll have the very latest on the hurricane as it is nearing the coast of Texas and Louisiana. Stay with us.
You go first.
You go.
Nope. You first.
No. After you.
Well, actually, I insist.
Don't be afraid. This Listerine is less intense. Ladies first.
Age before beauty.
You want to fight plaque, gingivitis, and bad breath. So get over your fears.
Let's see what you're made of.
Excuse me. Just try Natural Citrus Listerine. All of Listerine's germ-killing power. But less intense.
You guys should really grow up.
Natural Citrus Listerine. You can handle it. Germs can't.
Water that's cleaner and safer. Crops that grow stronger and faster. New medicines that save lives. Better protected foods. What's the ingredient that makes all these things possible? The right chemistry. Improving the things we all need is a healthy goal, and it's ours. Dow. Living improved daily.
This is Paul. He's been a quarryman, beetle, wing, poet, father, frontman, producer, business mogul, painter, and if that weren't enough, a knight. The key is, never stop doing what you love. Call us today. We'll help you plan for the next part of your life. Fidelity Investments. Smart move.
All right, ready? Oh, strike one. Strike
When
two.
you were a kid, you made your own rules.
Strike 4, 5, 6, 7.
You still can.
Good hit.
Introducing Fair and Flexible from the new Sprint with no huge overages and no roaming charges. Now you make the rules, not your wireless company. Call 800-SPRINT-1 to get more control over your wireless plan. Fair and Flexible starts at $29.99 a month. Call 800-SPRINT-1 today. Sprint. Yes, you can.
Closed captioning hours on CNN, sponsored in part by Jennifer Convertibles.
From Jennifer, another amazing living room value. Jennifer's 3-piece sofa modular, only $7.99, with exceptional quality and comfort. $7.99. Jennifer Convertibles.
Recapping the latest for you on Hurricane Rita. The first bands of rain from this powerful storm have made landfall on the Texas and Louisiana coast. The center of the Hurricane Rita is now a Category 3 storm. The center is headed straight for Port Arthur and Beaumont, Texas, and is expected to make landfall just before daybreak tomorrow. The National Hurricane Center says Rita has weakened a little, but still will come ashore with winds of 120 to 125 miles an hour. And as we conclude here tonight, we want to remind you that Judith Miller, the Pulitzer Prize-winning New York Times reporter, has been in prison now for 79 days for protecting her confidential sources in the White House CIA leak case. That CIA leak investigation began nearly 2 years ago. Thanks for being with us tonight. Have a very pleasant